US Open was the start of a heat wave we'll be getting here over the next few days, and it was hot. The juniors are now playing on the outside courts, and I started with Darwin Blanche playing his first round match against Charlie Camus. Both players are left-handed, and it was an interesting watch. A brief rain delay moved me inside, but Darwin won the match in the end. Up next was Marketa Vondrousova versus Peyton Stearns. Stearns came out firing and took the first set. Marketa looked to be struggling physically, but showed her experience and came back to win the next 2 sets. She is into the quarterfinals. Next was Rublev versus Draper. It's really nice seeing Draper back playing well, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds for him. Rublev was his usual tortured self, which can be hard to watch at times, but he pushed past that to get into another quarterfinals. My surprise of the day was the third match on Armstrong. I have never watched Jeanne play, and she came out of the blocks hot, really aggressive, and even though she struggled to serve out the match, she definitely has a new fan in me. It was another packed day on the grounds as I started my last match, which was between Alex de Minaur and Daniil Medvedev. I thought we might be getting a repeat of their Toronto match, but Alex lost steam and Daniil took control to win the match. My time at Louis Armstrong is now over. Up next, Ash for the rest of the tournament.
If there's one match from Rafa's story where you think that was a missed opportunity, there was a big chance.
There have matches,
2
or 3 in Australian Open. No more. We lose the opportunity in Wimbledon against Djokovic in semi-final.
2018.
Then we lose the opportunity, more important because that was semi-final. We lose the opportunity in Australian Open. In the Australian Open 2014, 2012 and 2017.
Yeah.
In 14 because he has an injury against Wawrinka that before he had never lose against him. Then with Djokovic and Federer, he had breakup in the 5th.
Yeah.
And 40-30 or the 30-50. I don't remember well. It was a ball very close, goes up. But this is what happened. There was in Roland Garros 2009. Of course, he I am sure that he won. He won this tournament when he has no problems in his knee, because at this moment he was the best. He won Australian Open, then he won the tournaments on clay, and he arrived with problems in Roland Garros. For this reason, in my opinion, he loses. But there are others time that maybe he has to lose and he won.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
At the US Open was the start of the heat wave we'll be getting here over the next few days, and it was hot. The juniors are now playing on the outside courts, and I started with Darwin Blanche playing his first round match against Charlie Camus. Both players are left-handed, and it was an interesting watch. A brief rain delay moved me inside, but Darwin won the match in the end. Up next was Marketa Vondrousova versus Peyton Stearns. Stearns came out firing and took the first set. Marketa looked to be struggling physically, but showed her experience and came back to win the next two sets. She is into the quarterfinals. Next was Rublev versus Draper. It's really nice seeing Draper back playing well, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds for him. Rublev was his usual tortured self, which can be hard to watch at times, but he pushed past that to get into another quarterfinals. My surprise of the day was the third match on Armstrong. I have never watched Jeanne play, and she came out of the blocks hot, really aggressive, and even though she struggled to serve out the match, she definitely has a new fan in me. It was another packed day on the grounds as I started my last match, which was between Alex de Minaur and Daniil Medvedev. I thought we might be getting a repeat of their Toronto match, but Alex lost steam and Daniil took control to win the match. My time at Louis Armstrong is now over. Up next, Ash for the rest of the tournament.
Remember last ball drops? Remember that pretty successful thing we had on during the French Open and during Wimbledon, that as soon as that last ball dropped, we would go live with a review of the day? Well, for New York, we've got something slightly different. It's called the first serve. It may look like last ball drops. It may even appear like last ball drops, but it's on at a different time. Some of you may be thinking, oh, a little bit more convenient, European time, mid-afternoon. Well, you're probably right. Anyway, it's coming your way every day for the next week or so, from probably until about around 4, I would imagine. 3 p.m. Central European time, 2 p.m. British Summer Time, and therefore 9 a.m. in New York, so Eastern Time, will be coming your way every day with a review of the previous day's action and a look forward to the day ahead. All here on Talkin' Tennis. So, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and see you at 9 a.m. Eastern Time every day during the US Open until middle of the second week, more or less. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, as it is in Europe right now, 20 past 2 in the morning in the UK, 20 past 3 in the morning here in Germany, and I think 20 past 4 in the morning if you happen to be tuning in from Greece. If you're in Greece, let me know in the live chat. In fact, for those of you tuning in, please do let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm just looking at Brian Shelton, of course, the father and coach of Ben Shelton. Ben is decked out in all black today. I say black, all black. He's got like a pink side to him. He has had a white sort of outfit with a bit of black on it before, but today we're in a darker outfit for this night match and the final quarterfinal of the day, the last quarterfinal of the day. For those of you just tuning in, please hit the like button. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. I'm hoping that Damien will join us at some point. I've already seen Jack commenting here in the live chat. So yeah, I hope, let me know if you're pumped for this match between Francis Tiafoe and Ben Shelton. I nearly called him Brian Shelton. We saw Wayne Ferreira as well in Francis's box. Of course, Francis is trying to reach his second consecutive US Open semi-final. Ben is trying to get to his first Grand Slam semi-final just over a year since he joined the tour. Time to share the score with you, ladies and gentlemen, because they are about to serve, and it is Francis Tiafoe to serve first. Get voting as well in our poll that we have running on YouTube. I'm really interested to know your thoughts. Hi, Jane. Great to have you on board as well. As usual, let's get that score up for you as I see Francis decked out in green. Tiafoe to serve. Love all. Goes down the tee and goes wide with that first serve. So you think it's going to be a real contest today, Jane? Yeah, I can't see it being straight sets one way or the other. I've gone Tiafoe. Shelton comes into the net, by the way, off that second serve. And actually, it is Tiafoe's turn to err. I say turn. He erred on that first point, and he went long and wide. Google obviously taking a little bit of time to catch up because they haven't even got the score up for you yet. What did you think about the match between Castella and Mukova? I mean, it was largely one-sided, but I do think the score line is a bit harsh. We've seen a double fault there from Francis, so not the best of starts for the American. Yeah, 3 matches today does. I think this year's US Open has yet to live up to the previous 2 versions, maybe even the previous 3, but maybe even the previous 4. I mean, I think the finals we had in 2019 were pretty epic on both sides, with Bianca Andreescu beating Serena and then Medvedev and Nadal going 5 sets. Great to have you on board, Ghosty. Make sure you hit that like button. I'm sure you've already done so. I think Damien's going to join us at some point, but he might be sleeping in deepest, darkest Poland right now. 30 all. Ghosty, who you support? Okay, first of all, who are you supporting and who do you think is going to win? Ghosty and Jane, by the way, are 2 of our members. You can become a member by clicking the join button just below the screen. Wayne Ferreira there looking at a screen. I don't know if he's looking at maybe he's watching Talking Tennis. Considering becoming a member too. A good first serve there from Tiafoe. It's been a good situation here for Francis. He was in a sticky situation, being love 30 down, but now he's 40-30. Second serve here for Francis for Shelton to look at. He's attacking this second serve and he's got a double fault. I wonder if Francis was a little bit distracted there. As a sneaky approach from Ben. Ghosty being a bit cryptic. Yeah, the draw didn't help. It did have a sort of inevitability about it. I think a lot of matches in the second week, or since the 4th round, really have been a bit
predictable. Maybe Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul didn't quite deliver what we thought it might, and Evans against Alcaraz was pretty exciting at times. I'm not saying in terms of the result. I think we all thought that Alcaraz would go on and win that match. But yeah, the draw was... You need Medvedev on Novak's side. That's the first thing, just so you've got that. You then need a sort of Sinner against Alcaraz match to happen, I guess, and that now isn't going to happen. And yeah, I mean, the women's side has delivered a bit. I mean, I think Iga Ostapenko was pretty cool. Today, less so, of course. But hey, listen, it's all about the next couple of days. We've got a game point here for Francis. It lands in. Francis does a cultured shot, but it doesn't take Shelton out. We're at juice again. Of course I can, Ghosty. The one match that stood out, of course, would have been Medvedev against Balash. Maybe Terry, but they both brought the best out in each other. That's what I mean. Carlos brings the best out in almost anyone he plays. That's Carlos. We've got a break point now for Ben already. Bearing in mind Shelton's maybe slight weakness on the return, it's a pretty good start for him so far. Back to deuce. By the way, a quick look at some of the things coming up for you tomorrow. 133 miles an hour serve. Right now, of course, we have Francis against Ben. But coming up tomorrow, we'll be bringing you Sabalenka against Qinwen Zheng at around about noon Eastern time and 5 p.m. British Standard Time. We've also got the first serve. It might be a little bit too early for most of you in the US, though, because we're having to bring it forward a little bit. So it'll be at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 11:30 a.m. British Summer Time and 12:30 Central European Time. Anyway, we've got juice here right now. Shelton being brought into the net, but that's nice point construction there from Francis. And we've got a game point for the American. That's quite an easy thing to say. Yeah, I know, Ghost. It was good. Ghosty, did you see a picture of Jake and Theo? We showed it earlier on the previous stream. Game point here, Francis. Advantage. And it's an ace. Tough first game there for Francis. 1-love. What might be an issue? Let's think about this in terms of the Novak semi-final. Novak, of course, is awaiting the winner. Conditioning. What is it? Tuesday. Mind you, 3 days, because it's going to be Friday, the semi-finals. Could help. I was just thinking that if this went 5 sets, for example, on the back of a 4-set match against Tommy Paul for Ben, for example, that might become an issue. Yeah, Ghosty, Castello against Milkova. No problem. I'll show it to you very, very soon because with, of course, Jake's permission, he's been fine with us. He sent it to me earlier and I checked with Jake to see. And I'm sure Jake will be very disappointed to know that you've yet to see it. So given that most other people have. Here we go. Jake and Theo. It was arguably the highlight of that previous quarterfinal, bearing in mind how one-sided it was. Anyway, 15-love here for Ben Shelton. Backhand to backhand. course, Ben is a left-hander. That's a nice sort of attempt at the drop shot, but good response from Tiafoe. They're making each other go around, and in the end, Shelton errs with a volley into the net. That was a nice point. I'm chuckling at you there, Ghosty. Backhand into the net there from Shelton. Yes, he'll be disappointed with that. Forehand return, forehand Ben. Forehand Tiafoe is mishit and goes long. Okay, 30-15 now on the Shelton serve. I know I said Damien will be here, but I am trying to protect my jewel in the Talking Tennis crown. So I'm trying to let him rest as much as possible. I'm sure that if he was awake, he would have texted me by now. If he had an IT or computer issue, which is every now and again, I know he has that, he tends to text me. I think he's probably sleeping, but that's fine. I'm afraid we aren't allowed to share the match on. All I can do is paint the best picture I possibly can with my words. You have to, if you're in the US, it's ESPN, which is I believe where you're going to get this action. As Shelton does eventually hold serve, so we're at 1-1. They're both on Yonex, are they, rackets? Okay. Backhand return. Forehand from low net clearance there from Tiafoe. Tiafoe comes into the net, understandably so, puts away the volley. It's a good volley. Not that I'm aware of, Ghosty. I mean, it's basically the same shirt that a lot of the other night guys are wearing. The other ones have gone for a red number, and he's elected green, I guess. One all. Francis to serve. 15 love. First serve into the net. Second serve, Francis. Forehand return from the lefty that is Shelton into the net, and we have 30 love. Serve and volley. Smash doesn't work. 30-15. Good shot there from Ben Shelton. Have we got to 2,900 subscribers yet? I think not quite, but we're close. We're close. 2,890, so just 10 short of 2,900. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit optimistic, but I was hoping to get to 3,000 by the end of the US Open. So we're going to have to add 100 over the next 3 or 4 days. No idea, but it would make sense if she was, bearing in mind the family tree of tennis. 40-15, Francis Tiafoe, by the way. Backhand return. Backhand now to the forehand of that lefty forehand, by the way. Of course, for Francis to deal with could be tricky. Although Francis dealt with it pretty well last year against Rafa. Ghosty, can you do some homework for me and tell me if Ben's father, Brian, was a lefty too? Who are we tipping, by the way? Let me go to the live chat or to YouTube and check out to see how the poll is going as to who you think is going to win today's match. 75-25 in favor of Francis. Yeah, I'm just going towards Francis. Just going that way. So there's the poll. I don't know where our other poll is, Damien, but let him rest. Brian was a righty. Thank you, Ghosty. Did you just know that, Ghosty, or did you Google it? I'm guessing you Googled. But whatever, thank you. But yeah, good correction with the spelling there. But that's fine. There's some other issues you've had with your sausage fingers the last couple of weeks that have really confused, but that one didn't. Oh, what's this? It's just a copy of Even the Defeats. How Sir Alex Ferguson used setbacks to inspire Manchester United's greatest triumphs. Available in all good bookstores and on Amazon too. Written very well actually. So by a guy named John Silk. So make sure you give that a check out. Check that little fellow out. Put that back somewhere. Put that back somewhere conveniently. Just put that over here somewhere. Or maybe over here. Maybe, yeah. That's just there. Mustn't drop that. Okay. Back to the tennis I'm sure you're all begging for. Ben Shelton is serving at 1-2. And Tiafoe has actually won the first point. So we'll love 15. Yes, indeed, Ghosty. Tav, great to have you on YouTube tuning in. Please hit the like button and also subscribe. In addition, I can only tell you to tune in to us on YouTube here. And for free, I'm afraid that's a tricky one. Yes, Ghosty. Yes, Ghosty. Yes, Ghosty. Okay. We are on the Ben Shelton serve, and he's won the next point, so it's 15 all. His shirt is sweat-ridden already. Tav, you're gonna have to pay for it, I'm afraid. Sorry. It's on ESPN, I believe, if you're in the US. If you're in Spain, yep, ESPN, mate. You got to check out ESPN. Sorry. Other than that, I'll just give you some commentary for the match. Shelton is now 30-15 on his serve. As first serve is wide. A little tenuous. Both these guys feel a little tenuous. Or tentative, you mean? Just a bit anxious, maybe. Forehand bend. That's a wonderful forehand winner. 40-15. I don't know what that is, Ghosty, but I know what you mean. Yeah, tentative. Yeah, I gotcha. Ghosty's not having a good US Open, is he, in terms of getting his words out? He's having a poor US Open. I mean, probably only Maria Sakkari's had a worse US Open. 40-30 now. Yeah, Terry. Yeah, that was funny. Daniel Medvedev, yeah. Talking about his inability to access the US Open. Backhand return. Good forehand there from Ben, but he does fall over. Wow, he still gets to that one. Some pretty cool points thus far, and we're at deuce. This could go 5, ladies and gentlemen. But I back to my initial thought. I'd forgotten that, of course, there will be a 3-day break now. So I think even if it goes 5, actually, it might not be too big an issue. As long as they're not cramping and walking around like invalids like Zverev and Sinner yesterday, who Zverev now will have to play Carlos Alcaraz. And I don't think Carlos will be pushing him left, right, and centre all over the court. Backhand return from Tiafoe. Backhand again from Tiafoe. Forehand Ben. I imagine we're going to be saying that quite a few times today. Forehand Ben, backhand Tiafoe. Now we're on the backhand of Ben. Forehand Ben Shelton to the forehand this time because he's tucked up in this corner. That's a big forehand from Ben and it wins the point. Game point, Ben Shelton. Possibly Ghosty. I mean, there was a couple of years difference in age, but when I say that, I mean that youngsters on the tour can take a bit longer to adapt. I mean, I think basically you probably need a good 2 or 3. I mean, it's like with Jack Draper, for example, and even Holger Rune. I know there's issues and concerns about their fitness, but give them a couple of years on the tour. A couple of years on the tour, 3 years on the tour, and then, okay, Holger Rune is entering that period. So by next year, and maybe, I don't know if that's any reasoning behind Holger Rune's departure from Mouratoglou in terms of his health and his longevity in matches. Maybe that's influenced it. But back to that, it could just be one of those things. But Yannick maybe has got to get that sorted because it is becoming an issue for him at times, although albeit he did do well in back-to-back 5-setters last year at the US Open. It could be a physical thing. It could be just a natural thing. By the way, also, don't forget Zverev was struggling too. I mean, let's not make him out to be some sort of man monster, perfect conditioning person, because he was struggling too yesterday. And that's why it went 5. I mean, Sinner could barely walk between points in the 4th set, but it went 5 because I think Zverev was struggling too. Okay. Love 15 on the Tiafoe serve. First serve into the net, so little sticky situation here. It's 15 all, by the way. Damien hasn't tweeted for 5 hours, by the way, so that might give you a slight clue on his whereabouts. And he also did tell me earlier on today that he wasn't going to make Mukova against Castella. He was going to take a break before joining for Tiafoe Shelton. Yeah, I feel the same, Jake. Maybe I'm a bit more big foe because of his age, and I just think that Shelton maybe will have a few more opportunities. I mean, for Francis, there will be more chances, I'm sure, but I'm always worried about some of these players that they'll ever get a chance again. I mean, Ons is the biggest example of that, I think, on the tour right now, but I don't think it'll happen now for Casper, I have to say. I mean, he's had 2 or 3 pretty kind draws that he has taken advantage of and then just run into Alcaraz, Nadal, and Djokovic, but that's how it is. I like that suggestion, Jake. I'm not sure if Ghosty knows. That's kind of funny. I'm guessing you know what this means, Ghosty, what Jake has just posted. Like, it's a British term, but I'm pretty sure you know what it means. It's what those people from Swansea were doing when I spoke to them in a bar in Hamburg a few days ago. Well, what I told you about a few days ago. We've got a break point now, though, after an excellent backhand return for Ben Shelton. Okay, break point for the American. That's quite easy to say, right? But it's probably quite confusing for you as well. Anastasia, by the way, here saying, let's get ready to rumble. I'll show you that tweet in a second. But first of all, let's talk about this break point. Good big serve from the big foe, Deuce. Maybe, Ghosty, yeah, maybe. Another big serve from Francis, but he's gone wide with that sort of dink drop shot effort. And so we've got another break point for Ben Shelton. Make sure you hit the like button, people. Are we up to 10 likes yet on YouTube? Forehand return and nice attacking play there from Francis, getting it back to Deuce. Yeah, but not everyone. Caroline Garcia, Holger Rune. Mukova's wasn't too bad today. She was pretty close to the baseline. Alcaraz for second serves can be pretty aggressive. Oh, Francis had a chance to pass there. And we now have advantage Ben Shelton. I think it's his third break point, I would say. My water is pretty low, and I'm going to have to top this up. So we will take a break at the end of this game. Shelton, Medi, Rafa, that's 3. And one of those isn't even on the tour, Ghosty, right now. Good serve there from Francis, but he's gone long with the forehand, and we have a break of serve, and Ben is going nuts. He's very happy with that. He was threatening, to be fair, in both the first and third service games of Francis. So it is first blood to Ben Shelton. Wow. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat, and I'll be back in 60 seconds.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
I tell you what some people are waiting for. They're waiting for Damien Kust. Okay, let's have a quick look at the live chat. What have I heard? Rafa's coming back in November, you heard. I'd love to know where you heard that, Ghosty. But maybe you're guessing. Maybe you really have heard it from somewhere. He's not publicly practiced yet. Okay, Ghosty, see you soon. Okay, Tiafoe on the serve here. Sorry, Tiafoe now on the return, trying to break back immediately. I mean, that was an initial suggestion, I know, when he said he was pretty much writing off the next 6 months or so. But we'll see. Nice volley there from Shelton at the net, meaning 15 all. Okay. 15 all, Ben Shelton serving. He has the break, 3-2. Goes down the tee. And the backhand there from Tiafoe is long, so we're at 30-15. 29 minutes on the clock. We've had a few exciting points. It is kind of delivering thus far. Fingers crossed we don't get another sort of straight sets blowout like the three previous quarterfinals. Oh, that was a wild first serve there from Ben. Ben was 143 miles an hour on that serve, but it was about 5 meters out. So I don't know if we should recognize that too much. Oh, double fault into the net. 111 miles an hour the second serve. It looked quite big, that second serve, or risky. But according to the shot clock, the speed clock, it wasn't. Anyway. And it's an ace now from Ben Shelton, 40-30. Ben Shelton. And now another situation, and he's held serve, 4-2. 4-2. Oakley dokley. Tiafoe to serve, down the tee. 2-4 now. Under pressure is Francis. $15 love. Oh, but when did he say it, Terry? When? And Ferrer does get a bit carried away. I mean, I remember Ferrer about 2 weeks before Barcelona saying, yeah, because he's the tournament director for Barcelona. He's like, yeah, Rafa will be here. Don't worry, blah, blah, blah. And then like a couple of days later, Rafa said, I'm not going to be in Barcelona. And Ferrer was like, see you next year. We'll see. Let me have a quick Google on this one. Or maybe. No, that's no. Not that I've a quick Google search hasn't suggested anything just yet. Anyway, back to the match here. 15 all right now. Tiafoe forehand, backhand slice from Ben. Oh, wow, that had a lot of spin on it. Francis did well to deal with that, to be fair. Francis comes into the net. Nice one, Ben. Watching and seeing his opponent go one way and sending it the other. 30-15, Shelton leads. I do see an article on tennis.com regarding a potential return at the Davis Cup. Yeah, from David Ferrer. So that's the that I guess is the source and the story you're referring to. Ghosty, is that the one though that landed about 5 meters out? I'm just not sure if that's the serve you're referring to from Ben. There was one about 5 minutes ago, maybe a bit less, from Shelton. And it was like, oh, wow, 143 miles an hour. But, oh, wow, it landed about 5 meters wide. Hey, Sean. Great to have you on board, by the way. I know he is training. Yes, that's true. Yeah. I mean, let's see. Let me see him practicing in public. And then I'll believe it. Okay, 30 all. Francis Tiafoe serving. Ooh, double fault, Francis. Break point, Ben Shelton. Okay. Thank you, Statman Ghost. Okay, big moment here, because this could arguably decide the first set. This point. (30-40). Francis Tiafoe to serve. Down the tee, backhand return, backhand Francis, forehand Ben, backhand to the backhand now of Ben. And Ben is definitely on top in this point, and he's won it, and he's broken serve. So, 5-2 now. Ben leads. Serving for the first set. For those of you just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe on YouTube as we head towards 3,000 subscribers. We are little, we are small, we are few, as you can see from the live chat with all the regulars, all 10 of you regulars, Ghosty, Max, Sean, Terry, Jake. The regulars are here. I'm here as well. I guess I have to be counted as a regular, right? Jane as well. I think she was lurking at the beginning of this stream. I remember her chatting about Sinner and the Carrots, for example. So we've got all the regulars, but we would like more regulars. That's great. We're a wide open community, as I see Ben just screaming with delight there as he takes a 5-2 lead. How do we think Ben would deal with Djokovic? What do we think about that? Also, get voting in our poll. Both my prediction and the poll are not looking great right now because I suggested a Tiafoe win, albeit a close one, and a long way to go yet, of course. But right now, Ben is looking pretty good. Max, very kind words from you as well. Yes, please hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can add 10 subscribers during this stream. Is that too much to ask for? We're 9 short of 2,900. What's Ben and the umpire chatting about here? Oh, okay, it's too quick to... It seemed fairly cordial. Maybe it's just about a potential... change of clothing or break at the end of this first set. So get voting in the poll. Yeah, that is a weird point. I do think that there was a bit of doom and gloom already emerging about Ben. Why isn't he doing better? I was thinking to and I was saying publicly, listen, he's not even been on the tour a year yet. This is during the summer. Plus, I'm not sure clay will ever be his thing. I think he'll do all right and he'll pick up wins. I was watching him during the clay court season and he was a lot of fun, which is, well, that's the name of the game, isn't it? It was a lot of fun to watch on the clay. I remember seeing him in person against Dominic Thiem in Estoril. And for the first 3 or 4 games, he was the better player. Dominic went on to win the match. Thanks, Mary. You're becoming a regular too, especially for some of these late night matches. Okay, backhand slice from Shelton. He leads 15-love in this game. And Francis goes long. Good point, Jake. I think he might get better on that front though, and the movement as well, though, Jake. You gotta add the movement there, especially the sliding or lack of. I mean, he kind of makes Medvedev look elegant on clay. Bless him. 30 love here. Ben Shelton leads. I would like one more cup of tea. Fingers crossed I get a chance to make it sometime soon. Ben goes long on the forehand there. So it's 30-15. Ghosty, getting all experty here, Ghosty. You're joining the tennis expertise thing here. Yes, Ben can be a bit flat. And I mean that in the way he takes his shots. Clips the net there with the first serve. So it's still going to be a first serve because it landed in. Got my water, but I need my tea. Okay. Shelton clips the net and goes long. So second serve, 30-15. But a long way back for Francis right now. Is that a second serve ace? It is. Good spot serving there as well because it wasn't big. It was 110. It's nice and curved. 110 miles an hour, but perfect spot serving there. And it's now 40-15 and 2 set points. I love clay, Ghosty, but I love them all. Maybe grass. Oh, an unreturnable, and he wins the first set. Wow. Wow. The winner takes it all, Jake. And Ben is he is in the money right now. That is for sure. Maybe on clay, he's not exactly a dancing queen, but gimme more on a hard court. How about that? How about that little array of ABBA songs? You don't get that on Cam Williams. I've not got my tea yet, Mary. I will get it. Let's just have a quick look at some stats here. First serve, 55% Francis, not bad, but 77% for Ben Shelton. He's hit double the amount of winners as well, 12-6 of his opponent. Ghosty there, give me an applause. Thank you very much. Yeah, Max is joining the ABBA party. Yeah, Ghosty's joining in too. By the way, bearing in mind he's got a tennis father, a guy who was on the tour for a few years. It's amazing he never went to Europe until earlier on this summer. It's just bizarre. Terry, I guess you're applauding all the ABBA references. We're getting this is probably what we're seeing backstage here. Some Wilson rackets being strung, or sorry, not Wilson, but some rackets being strung, and I'm guessing that is for Mr. Ben Shelton. Getting plenty of draft up his t-shirt, which I'm sure is welcome. Nice one, Max. As a kid growing up, I was a big Depeche Mode fan. Discuss. Let me know your thoughts on Depeche Mode in the live chat. Ghosty, I'd be very intrigued to know what your thoughts are on Depeche Mode. Okay. ABBA references are certainly close to being maxed out. I don't know if either of these two guys are thinking about ABBA right now. But either way, Tiafoe 15 love with an unreturnable. I don't recall a song by ABBA called Unreturnable. I wish they did have one because that would help. A forehand Francis, backhand from Ben. That's a nice slice defense there from Ben. And he's tried to go for the lob, but it hasn't worked out. 30 love. Wasn't shade, by the way, Max. I love Depeche Mode. That was my... Unless it was somebody else in the chat that wasn't keen on Depeche Mode. Yeah, Jake. The only problem is that, of course, a lot of the band members have left the band over the years, or of course with Fletch passing away about a year or so ago, I think it was, maybe 18 months ago. Well, a very anxious-looking Wayne Ferreira there, of course. His man at the moment lost the first set 6-2, albeit that he is 40 love up on his serve right now. Backhand return, that'll disappoint Ben because that was attackable. Francis holds serve, 1 love. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Jake. Oh, good, Ghosty. I mean, they were big in the US, Ghosty, weren't they? Depeche Mode, sort of in the late 80s, early 90s. So this is Tiafoe's third Grand Slam quarterfinal. He's 1-1. What was his other Grand Slam quarterfinal then? Was it the US Open? No. I mean, I know he obviously won his one a year ago because I was at that match a year ago against Andrei Rublev when he won in straight sets. That was a tough watch as well, seeing Rublev at the end of that match just so gutted. Andrei. I really want to see Medvedev, though, against Alcaraz in the semi, so... partly because I don't want to see Andre. I love Andre, but I don't want to see Andre Rublev, Novak Djokovic, US Open final, please. That'll just be another sort of Casper Ruud job. There you go, Terry. Nice Depeche Mode reference. It is a good one. Everybody. Backhand return from Francis. Backhand again. We're on the backhand slice now of Ben Shelton. Forehand Francis. I mean, look at this ball striking and think about what we saw earlier from Fritz. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I didn't even... Sorry, Ghosty. Didn't even know they were American. Ah, is that Chris Eubanks there? Let me just have a quick look to see when Tiafoe's other quarterfinal, where it was. Was it Australia? I don't think he's got to the Wimbledon quarterfinals, to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, he made the Australian quarterfinals in 2019. Ah, did he lose to Rafa in 2019? Just let me have a quick look at this. Australian Open 2019. He upset Kevin Anderson in the second round, Grigor Dimitrov in the fourth round, and then lost to Nadal in the quarters. Okay. I think in straight sets. Okay, so back to the present. And we have Ben Shelton serving here, up 1 set to love, and 40-15. Shelton holds. You'll be surprised to hear with a big serve. 1 game all. I've still not got my tea yet, Mary. Probably the next changeover we'll have a short break, and I'll go and get a tea. Ooh, Shelton on the aggression here. Yeah, I got you. Oh, I knew when you said REN, I knew you meant REM. Yeah, I saw it was 77% Ghosty in the first serve, but in the first set, but Ghosty is all over the stats, as we know. Statman Ghost. I'm guessing none of you know why I'm going with this Statman Ghost thing as a sort of expression. So we've obviously got Ghosty because that's obviously his real name, but Statman Ghost being his nickname. It comes from, I'll just tell you because you're probably not even, you're thinking, what the hell am I talking about? Well, there is a YouTube guy, Twitter guy called Statman Dave, and he does a lot of stats on football, as we call it in the UK, or soccer in the US, and he's pretty good. He's also got a YouTube channel, so check him out, Statman Dave. He's got 1 or 2 more subscribers than I have, but he's a Statman guy, and he's also an analyst in the sort of nerdy sense for soccer. So you've got to be a big soccer nerd to like him, but check him out sometime, either on Twitter or YouTube, Statman Dave. So that's why I'm going Statman Ghost. But she hasn't passed away, has she, Ghosty? Breaking news, if she has, for me at least. Please, Ghosty, that don't tell me you're being a bit careless with your words again. I mean, yes, that's a great song, Mary. We're at 30 all here on the Tiafoe serve, by the way. Okay, serve out wide has gone wide. 30 all still. So second serve here for Ben to look at. I thought she was, Ghosty. Backhand Francis. Backhand slice from Ben. I mean, the slice from Ben is not the best slice. Oh, well, lovely forehand there. Oh, but that's a nice forehand from... Oh, wow. Nice one, Ben. 30-40. Because, look, I just saw Annalex. She was brilliant, solo and in the Eurythmics. RIP to a real talent. I mean, RIP to a real talent. I mean, you suggest that could mean that she'd retired from singing or whatever, but yeah, you can see why that could have been misinterpreted, can't you? See that, Ghosty? Ghosty is yeah, the jokes are still coming and they're still being much appreciated. But jokes aside, and stats, by the way, you're recovering a bit of your reputation with those. But your casual conversation, you got to pick up your game. You got to pick up your game. Your casual conversation is about as effective as Stefanos Tsitsipas in New York. Ineffective and confusing and chaotic. Wow, what a backhand that was from Francis, by the way. Deuce. Big pressure moment that was for Francis. He's certainly on the back foot here, though. I mean, the first set was 6-2, but it could even have been a bagel, bearing in mind Francis was under pressure in the first game of the match. I think Ben had a couple of break points, or at least one break point in the first game of the match. All right, Ghosty. Oh, Ghosty, talking to coaches, how's Ted Lasso getting on? Have you got through all of that now? I think it's 3 seasons of Ted Lasso, am I right? Oh, that's nice. I say that's nice. There was a double bounce there, wasn't there? Francis is shaking his head. Either way, it was nice for Francis and he wins the point. I think there was a double bounce. I mean, listen, I'm not having a go at Ben, but not at all. Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. The umpire's convinced there wasn't. No, and he's right. The umpire's right. Oh, double hit of the racket, though. That double hit of the racket. So it wasn't a double bounce, but he did hit the racket twice. Anyway, it doesn't matter because Francis won the point. And I don't know to what extent Ben would have known, to be fair. 53 minutes on the clock, which is pretty extensive, bearing in mind we've only had 10 games. Ooh, Ben goes for the attack on the return, and Francis Tiafoe holds serve. You know what? After building up this tee, I'm not sure I fancy it right now. I might wait till the next changeover and see where I'm at. Francis gets the banana out. Fair enough, Ghosty. I mean, listen. I think it's worth watching all 3 seasons, but you've got a significant taste of it if you've watched a season and a half. I won't. No spoilers here, by the way. Don't worry. I'd love to know Jake's thoughts if he's seen Ted Lasso and if he liked it. One of the things I will say about it is so many football or soccer films and series are just rubbish, with the exception, of course, of Escape to Victory. That, of course, is up there with The Lion King as one of the best films of all time. I mean, any film that can bring... let me have a look at the Escape to Victory. Who was on the roll call? Who were the actors in that? I mean, I think Sylvester Stallone, Michael Caine, Bobby Moore. I mean, any film that can bring these 6 guys together has to be a pretty special number, right? You get Sylvester Stallone, Pele, Michael Caine, Bobby Moore, and Mike Summerby. By the way, I'm sure many of you don't know who Mike Summerby is, but he's a Manchester City legend, by the way, but long before they got taken over by an unfortunate regime. Yeah, any film that can bring those guys together, and I'm sure there's probably a few more that we're missing. I have no idea who that Werner guy is, but yeah. Anyway, Sly Stallone, yeah. It's a good one. It's only got 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, Tiafoe Shelton. I don't know if these 2 guys are thinking about Escape to Victory. Of course, that would be appropriate for Tiafoe right now. Hi, Peaches. Okay. 15 love on the Shelton serve. Peaches, what did you make of the first set? Let me know. That umpire, by the way, is that an intern? He looks like an intern. He's on work experience. Probably why I didn't see that double hit from Ben. 30 love now on the Ben Shelton serve. Goes down the tee, does he? No, must have clipped the net. So it's still going to be a first serve for Ben. Statman Ghost, keep an eye on the speedometer for me. We've got 24 people tuning in right now. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And that's too big from Tiafoe. We're at 40 love. Hi, Kevin. How's it going? Thank you for the like on Facebook. Keep the comments coming in, Kevin. Let me know what you thought of the first set as well. Yeah, I know, Terry. I know. He's been around. I am kidding. I've seen him on the tour for a while. 138 miles an hour service speed from Ben. But he just looks very... He's got a beard, I know, but he looks very young. He's no Liani, I know. I'm sorry, I just seen... yeah, don't worry. Listen, Ghosty, I have no problems with that. But when you start saying R.I.P. Annie Lennox, whether you spell Annie or Lennox wrong, that's the problem I have. Or when I sometimes look at words that you've misspelled or written too quickly, and then I'm looking at them, they're in very different parts of the keyboard. And I'm wondering if the cat ran over the keyboard. Do you have any pets, Ghosty? Okay. Backhand cross court to the forehand of Tiafoe. Forgot who. Backhand then to the forehand of Ben Shelton. Forehand Ben Shelton. Backhand Tiafoe. Backhand Ben Shelton. I think that's just gone long. No, it hasn't. Net cord, very favourable for, or quite favourable for Tiafoe, but he still ends up losing the point. Love 15. Very good, Ghosty. I get your joke there. I get your joke. I mean, a Ben Shelton, Carlos Alcaraz final. Listen, of the backups, of the backup options to an Alcaraz Djokovic final, that's not a bad backup. I mean, Medvedev Djokovic as well is not a bad backup. If Medvedev is firing, I'm okay with that. That's a good question, Jane. If anybody has anybody can let me know about that. I imagine the crowd is split. I would imagine that they'll just go for the guy who's behind. So I guess probably a bit more for Tiafoe right now. It's a nice backhand from Tiafoe. It's a nice forehand from Francis. And as a result, he wins the point, 15-all. I'm going to leave your question, Jane, on the screen because I think people could do with answering that. Kevin and Peaches, this is for you. What are your thoughts on the match so far? I mean, it is kind of all Ben Shelton, at least in terms of the scoring system. I mean, it's Ben who's knocking at the door for another break on the Francis serve. The first game of the match, Ben had chances to break his serve. It didn't happen, and you thought, okay, Tiafoe's on the board, things will settle down now. Not at all. Shelton was pressuring that Tiafoe serve throughout the first set, got a couple of breaks, wins it fairly comfortably, is doing okay on his serve, getting all those first serves in. As Ghosty suggested, about 80% of first serves are landing. Francis has now gone wide and long with that forehand, so we're at 30-all. And again, we may have a tricky service game for Francis. Low-key, I'm surprised. Maybe it's because it's the second one. Maybe the second match on. Maybe that doesn't help. Let me just turn things up a bit. I'll probably turn it on as the point is happening. Here we go. All right, that was a fairly uninspiring point with an unreturnable there. Landing out. Yeah, it could be just the humidity dampening their spirits. Good serve there, Francis. Puts him in charge of the point, and he puts it home. So Francis does hold 3-2. Francis really needs to build some momentum right now. He needs some comfy-ish holds. When I say comfy, I'm not sort of talking like 40 love and 15s, but just avoiding break points. He needs to string sort of 2, 3, 4 service games together like that, and then start thinking about putting the Ben serve under the microscope. We'll see. I don't think he was particularly comfortable today, but I'm sure he'll have a night semi-final. I think both semi-finals are sort of nighttime matches. I remember the women's semi-finals both were sort of one starting around about 7 p.m. local time and the next one starting around sort of 9, 10 o'clock. I was at both women's semi-finals last year. And Arina Sabalenka, I think she was up 4-2 with a break of serve in the third set with over over Iga. Could easily have won that match, and we could easily be looking at back-to-back Grand Slams with her obviously going on to win in Australia. I think it still was hot. I mean, both were sweating buckets in that match, Sean. Okay. So, over to you, Ben. A little bit of scrutiny now on the Ben Shelton serve at 2-3. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Especially all the shade that is cast from the tennis people towards pickleball. I'm kind of neutral. I mean, it doesn't even bother me. Tennis is still tennis, and tennis is still great. I mean, I guess perhaps if I was playing tennis on a hard court and I started seeing all these weird lines, maybe that would bother me, but it's just not really a thing here in Europe. So we have paddle, which I think is kind of similar and is really big in Spain in particular and is starting to become popular in other parts of Europe. A double fault there for Ben Shelton, so love 15. Good first serve there. Not a bad return because it was tricky there for Francis. Smash from Ben. Has that gone long? I think it has. Love 30. Interesting times. I said a little bit of scrutiny now on the Ben serve, which there hasn't been a whole lot of during this match so far. Yeah, Ben at 88% of his first serve points won in this second set, and he was about 77 in the first. So, yeah, around about 80%. Oh, no. Okay. Another serve. Good serve there from Ben. But Francis did well to get it back. Ben comes into the net and tries a volley there. And it's fist clenching time. You know what I mean. From Francis. Because he has 3 break points. This is the biggest game for Francis since the beginning of the match, without a single doubt. What do we think about that Klistfenching comment, by the way? And it's going to be a second serve, much needed as well. I mean, actually, Tiafoe's done well on some of the first serves from Ben recently, but second serve has to be much more gettable, let's say. Mind you, good kick there from Ben. Ben comes into the net and he puts the volley away. Unlike a previous attempt at a volley, which went into the net, this one is a winner, 15-40. Indeed, that is a good point, Terry. Yeah, but he's got the tournament director there. What's his name? Craig Tiley, and is so far in his back pocket. I don't know where Novak's shorts end and Craig Tiley's nose begins. Very good, Ghosty. Okay, break point number 2. Francis winner on the forehand. Unbelievable forehand as well, to be fair. Wow. Game on. 4-2. There we go. Craig, totally agree. I don't know who Craig is, but anyway. Terry, I'm John. Maybe it's somebody else you agree with. I don't know. Coming into the net now, Francis. Has that landed out? I think it has. Love 15. I know, it was an incredible forehand. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mary. Sorry, Terry. It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm still okay right now, but let me tell you, by sets 4 and 5 last night of Sinner Zverev, Damien and I were we were running on fumes. Put it that way. Forehand now to the backhand of Ben Shelton. And Ben Shelton goes long to his frustration. 15 all. Yeah, I got you in the end. Sorry, Terry. Yeah. Some spare shoes of Francis there lined up. Goes down the tee, but is long. 15 all. What do we think? Do we think Damien is going to join us at some point? I think it's 50-50. You just never know with that boy. He may just emerge. He may randomly wake up and go, ooh, there's a tennis match I should be watching. Okay, 15-30 here on the Francis serve. Into the net on the first serve as Ben looks to strike back immediately. Close to a double fault, but not a double fault. Forehand Ben is big, and it's a winner from Ben Shelton. Wow. It's like he saw the Tiafoe forehand winner in the previous game and went, you know what? Two can play that game. Yeah, it was Jake, I think, regarding on the clay. Problem is though, when Ben is managing to shorten the points like that, it is freaky, Ghosty. It is, yeah. He's a tennis brain in a jar. Francis comes into the net and it's a backhand winner, 30-40. The problem is for me for these matches is I don't really have a preference between Francis and Ben. I mean, I know I tipped Francis to win, and I think maybe him winning the US Open would just be amazing. So would Ben Shelton. But the problem for me is that, I mean, last night I really wanted that 5-setter to be over. And I hope I don't get to that stage with this match. I mean, right now I'm okay, but I am thinking tea time very soon. Okay, still another point here. And Ben just loses a little bit of patience there. Talking about not enjoying rallies. He nets deuce. And the thing is, Ghosty, regarding Damien's appearance, it just might happen randomly. I'll just see him and it'll be like, hey, smoking a cigar like Hannibal from the A-Team. Loving it when a plan comes together. Backhand Tiafoe coming into the net now. I think he's got this point because he's going to land out. Indeed, it does. By the way, am I kind of in sync with your TVs? I don't know whether I'm behind, ahead, or have you all got me kind of in sync? I mean, of course, if I'm ahead, it's very easy because you can always just put me on pause for a few seconds and then sync me up with your TV. Yeah, exactly. It did become a bit of a slog like that. Okay, game point, Francis. Pushing the shot clock to its maximum. Ben trying to come in on that serve, but that was a cheeky one from Francis, and he holds 5-2 now. So I'm slightly behind, or the TV slightly behind, Terry? So put me on pause, Ghosty. Put me on pause, no? If I'm I'm slightly behind. Well, that's okay as well, right, Terry? I guess it doesn't matter if I'm slightly behind. I'm surprised you don't put me on pause, Ghosty. But maybe Ghosty wants to keep, so he's at least on pace for the live chat. Gotcha, Terry. I'm slightly behind. Oh, hello. Hello. What is going on in the background here? Look who it is from deepest, darkest Poland.
Yes, that's me. Hello, guys. Almost missed our night watch, but somehow I managed. I mean, around 2 a.m. I think I woke up, and I just saw that Muchova and Kirsta were still like pretty early in their match, which I don't know how it happened since it was a bagel in the opening set, but I remember that they were pretty early in their match.
It's because it was a lengthy bagel.
Okay, it was a lengthy bagel then. And then I decided to like put my next alarm clock at like, I don't know, 15 minutes later, 30 minutes later, and then I wake up 4:30. I don't know where I am, and I suddenly remember Tiafoe Shelton.
I thought you were going to say deepest, darkest Poland, but yeah. Just quickly on that Castella match, because I've probably got a bit more data to share with you, or memory from it, if you like. I know we're obviously a set and a half through this match, but of course this could go either way yet. That first set was nowhere near Rafa Djokovic kind of 6-love from French Open, but you that's the direction I'm going with. There was a game that was 20 minutes on the that included, I think, 7 break points for Castella, and that was at about 3-love. So it was the second attempt at holding from Muchova. That was huge. That could have made a big difference to the way the match panned out. Even if it not in terms of, I still think Muchova would have won the match, but just suddenly she gets a game or two in that first set. The second set could be different, and that may well have gone to a third set somehow. But it was competitive. Castella probably lost a bit of patience at times, but Muchova was, honestly, the guile, the shot selection, the lobs from her, the smashes. She had about 7 or 8 smashes, some of which were very tricky and under a lot of pressure, like during that game that I'm just telling you about, and was just unbelievable. I'm really looking forward to seeing her against Coco. I hope it's a bit more competitive than the one they had. Well, it was quite competitive, their final in Cincinnati, but that was straight sets. I'd actually forgotten about that match until just about an hour or so ago. Regarding this one with Francis and Ben, I mean, Ben, conversely, could have been a bagel that first set, because the opening game of the match, Francis was already under pressure on his serve. And as you can see, there was 2 breaks that then came from Shelton. And Shelton for a set and a half was pretty comfortable on his serve. And until, ironically or coincidentally, at 2-3 or 3-2 in this second set, I did just say, well, it's about time Francis scrutinized the Ben serve, and before you knew it, it was love 40, and eventually he broke. So, and Francis has broken again, so we may well be looking at a 6-2 set here.
Has he broken again?
Well, according to Google, he has, but then I was looking down at my screen, and no, he hasn't. It's Google.
No.
And the TV is right. Sorry. So anyway, but he's still going to serve for this set, 5-3.
TV's always right.
Yeah, although I wasn't even looking at the TV, but yeah, TV is, yeah, it's certainly more reliable than Google. Google corrects itself, to be fair, but it just sometimes needs a few seconds to sort of rejig. Undoubtedly, you will be somewhere ahead of me in terms of the live stream, maybe 15 seconds or so.
Yeah, no problem. I'll probably like join this more or less at one set all then, because well, it's therefore
Yeah,
saving
do
for
that.
the second set, which in a way, yeah, I'm watching since like maybe 4-2 or
Okay.
something.
That's a nice shot from Ben. There's been some spectacular points, as you would imagine.
Yeah, the shot making is gonna be there. I mean,
Yeah.
Tiafoe, Shelton, energy as well.
Novak lying in wait. I started the stream by saying something like, "Oh, 5 sets won't do anyone any favors," but then I remembered there'll be a 3-day break, so I think probably they'll be okay. I mean, both of these guys are pretty fit as well.
You know what you should have said?
Tell me.
None of this matters, because
Yeah.
one of them will play
Is
Novak.
Shelton a slightly trickier opponent, do you think? Potentially?
Maybe just because of I guess the
Unknown
unknown
quantity.
quality, yeah,
Yeah.
then that he brings to the table. Obviously, he's not unknown. Like realistically, he's not really unknown, but he's still fresh. He has not played Djokovic. He would be able to surprise him more. But I guess Tiafoe in New York, if he is supposed to beat Djokovic somewhere, he did go 5 with Alcaraz. I don't know. It should be a more competitive match than the quarters, probably.
And he went
The
4 with Novak in Australia in a poorer version of Francis, or a less experienced version of Francis, and in Australia. So, I mean, I am not a bit more than clutching at straws. I mean, I think
Mhm.
if I started talking like this with Taylor, I think you would certainly, like before the match, I think you'd certainly be saying clutching at straws. But I don't remember many Francis Tiafoe Djokovic matches, actually. I remember the one in Australia. What's their head to head?
No, like 0-4, or maybe I don't know. I
Okay.
would be my guess. No, let me check that. But that'll be. I don't know why I'm guessing that, because I also don't remember many of their matches.
Francis takes the second set with an ace, 120 miles an hour, bang down. So Love and 2-0. So there's only been one other match between these two.
Ah, okay, just two.
And
What's the other match?
no, including the Laver Cup last year. I had a feeling they might have played at the Laver Cup.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking of Laver Cup. So it's only Laver Cup and the Australian Open?
Yep.
Okay, it's actually
And for
quite surprising.
3 sets, that was super close in Australia. Of course, the third set was a tie break. And Francis last year was on a tie-break run, wasn't he, from memory, in New York? I think it was like, did he win like 10 in a row or something?
Sorry, come again?
Wasn't Francis a year ago on a tie-break run from memory?
Oh,
Didn't he win like a dozen or so? In a row? What's up?
yeah, and then he lost 2 sets to Fritz, two tie breaks to Fritz in Tokyo, right?
Oh yeah, quite possibly, yeah.
He was on a big streak and lost 2 in a row, I think, in one match.
I think he did. He win? Did he win his 2 sets against Alcaraz on tie-breaks as well? Or did
Yeah,
he get?
he won two tie breaks and then lost 3 regular sets. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Diego, we're generally showing the score, but John was just putting it on the head-to-head for a moment, because we were talking about it. Have I hit with Yonex? I mean, I think so. I don't know. I've hit with a lot of rackets. Not actually played like with many, of course, for for like a longer period. I definitely have not played with Yonex with a Yonex racket for a longer patch, but I would assume I had it in my hand at some point. And I also totally missed Kitsta of Agosti, so I'm with you right there.
What were you thinking before this match?
For Tiafoe Shelton,
Mhm.
that's before the event I would have said Tiafoe is the big favorite. New York semis last year, just a more experienced seasoned player. Of course, Shelton not in great form, you could say. But by the time we actually made it to the quarters, it sounds a lot more 50-50-ish. I just wonder how Shelton is going to hold up when he actually has a chance to win the match, because we saw what he did against Tommy Paul.
Yeah.
Cruising 2 sets and a break. He just wasted completely out of nowhere, loses the next 4 or 5 games in a row. And of course, eventually he manages to win that match. He was still playing a lot better than Paul. He was handling the heat much better. But yeah, I just wonder if that's going to become a factor again, if Shelton has an actual shot at clinching the match. So far, of course, it's basically tight. No, it is tight actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, today has sucked completely, right?
Yeah. I mean, I am bigging up that that Castella Mukova match, but partly possibly because the other two matches were non-events.
Yeah, but I mean, you're bigging up as six. Still, you're bigging up as 6-0, 6-3 match.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. Fingers crossed tomorrow and also this match as well. But tomorrow we will have the first serve a bit earlier than normal. We'll have it at 12:30 Central European time, which means 6:30 a.m. in New York, and even earlier in other parts of the US. Mario and Jack will be on the first serve tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a bit of traveling tomorrow, so fingers crossed I can still do some production whilst things are going on. But Damien and Shrihari are going to bring you Zheng against Sabalenka. Every single match at the moment, despite the fact that the draw is thinning out, I always sort of hesitate as to who's playing who. And the amount of times that I've included Fritz in this, not tonight, but in the last few hours, in the last day or so, I've been saying Fritz against Tiafoe, Shelton against Fritz, and just getting confused with this particular match. It's been a minefield for me. So Zheng against Sabalenka tomorrow will be you and Shrihari. And I'll be on. I might be able to produce for that, but I might send you a message at some point saying you might have to click the start and end button, basically. Not much more than that, but just that, basically. For Zheng,
Shrihari will handle it.
Oh, he can. Yeah, if it's pressing the start and end button. What is Ghosty talking about? John is going to Declan Rice's Assassin to have a little chat. Yeah.
Declan Rice scored the last goal
He
in
didn't score the last
United.
one, but he scored the crucial one. The one.
Oh, he scored the one for 2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
And with that Shelton serve, I think it's with that Shelton serve, I think it's just more so the leftiness of it that will hurt Djokovic potentially unless not the 149. Does that really matter for Djokovic? Is 149 or 142? He's well equipped.
Is he okay with big servers normally, Djokovic?
Djokovic?
Yeah.
I mean, more than other players, yes, but at the same time, it's still a big server, so he's still vulnerable.
Yeah.
Everyone is, but probably less so than other players. Although he did used to struggle, of course, with Karlovic. Had some tight matches, I guess, with maybe like Isner, Raonic, maybe. His big servers record is not as good as Mares. Well, pre-hip injury Mares, but it is obviously quite excellent.
But quite a lengthy break here at the moment between these second and third set. It's Ben Shelton that's off the court right now. He's just returning. What was
he's actually going to be serving.
Any what?
No, I said he's actually going to be serving.
Yeah.
Because he said he's just returning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry, slow. Any Polish media reaction to Iga's demise?
I guess there's a lot of like analysis of like the critique of casual fans regarding the match and like how they perceive it. That's basically what I saw. When it comes to like reading I don't know, articles on Polish websites. I did not really read any. So, but she lost the word number one, which is definitely a big well, it's definitely a big one when it comes to the story. But otherwise, I think everyone sort of realizes, well, everyone who's not a casual tennis fan realizes what sort of player Ostapenko is as well. But I think besides that, it's important to point out that there are some underlying issues still, right, with the second serve return, with the complete lack of variety that Świątek brings to the table now, and yeah, maybe the game plan as well. So there are definitely a lot of armchair experts, including myself, who could find a few reasons to criticize her for after this U.S. Open, and that's
Ghosty's
what we'll be doing.
Ghosty's keen to know what's the reaction to Lynette's demise been as well, but I imagine
Uh,
the reaction is quite brief.
the one in doubles today, or the one in singles?
I
Because she was
don't think
also
he's talking about doubles today. I know he can be across doubles, but I don't think he's referring to that. Wow, it's been
yeah,
9 minutes.
she was also in the doubles with Bernarda Pera and lost in the quarters. And then she said somewhere recently that she wants to play like really consistently with her and actually like try to make WTA finals or something. I'm assuming they're talking about 2024 though, because 2023 sounds very unrealistic now.
Yeah.
At this point, even if unless they like win every single event until the end of the year. But yeah, I think yeah, the reaction to Rinette's demise is just sort of non-existent, because after the last 8-7 months, everyone just doesn't like, no one just expects anything from her, which is a bit of a paradox, I suppose, because she had that Australian Open run, and then suddenly people are like, I don't want to say criticizing her, but like saying she's completely out of form, where she's basically getting the sort of results that she was getting throughout her career, right? Before
Mhm.
the Australian Open, I think she never had a WTA quarterfinal above the WTA 250 level. So yeah, basically people are criticizing her for something that has always been the case, but because of the Australian Open semi-final run, the expectations are now obviously so much higher.
Yeah.
And I guess it will even out a bit after the Australian Open if she's unable to
Oh, wow.
defend most of these semi-final points.
That flat backhand cross court from Francis to bring up 15-30. Phew. That flew past Ben. Has there been a momentum swing? Well, I mean, winning the second set is a big thing, but we'll see how this beginning of this set goes. I don't know if these two guys have a thing going. I mean, Ben's still pretty new to the tour, so and given the age gap, they might not have crossed paths much pre-tour.
What was the question about? Like a potential friendship or something?
Between these two, yeah.
Yeah, Shelton is a friend with Eubanks for sure, but Tiafoe, yeah, I don't think they really crossed paths that much. With Eubanks, he had the chance to play, at many challengers, and obviously last year they almost made the finals in 3 consecutive weeks. They actually did that just twice, but I think Charlottesville and Knoxville. But yeah, with Tiafoe, I don't think they really had the chance to I guess build up a relationship. But this year on the major, they maybe could, maybe right now they actually yeah.
Silka is very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be more than happy to just show the score and say very little, but that tends to be not what people are tuning in for. So sorry, Silka. I mean, I don't know why you would tune in if you just want to look at the score, which is completely fine. you can do that. That's totally fine. That Ghost is finding it funny. It is funny. Anyway, Ben Shelton has a game point here at 40-30. Yeah. Forehand from Ben's long, and we're at deuce on the Shelton serve.
Silka Big could also be like a username who created his account, in order to actually get onto this stream, because maybe this is a reference to you.
I mean, Silka is a common first name in Germany.
No, don't ruin my theory.
The big silk.
Did they call you that in? I don't
No,
know.
never.
Okay.
Silky, of course, is a classic thing in the English.
Okay. Yeah.
Why? That was more of a school thing, though. Silky. Sometimes just silk. Silkworm was a brief thing, but didn't last very long.
We've got the break already. First game. Just a streak of +1 errors basically from Shelton.
One of these players is winning a Grand Slam, and the rest are not. Okay, Francis Tiafoe, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Alexander Zverev, and Casper Ruud. So we've got
What do you?
players. 3 are not winning.
What do you think?
Which one is
What
winning?
do you think my answer would be?
I know it's not going to be Tsitsipas. I definitely know it's not going to be Casper Ruud. I think your answer would be post-injury Zverev. Therefore, I'm going to go with Tiafoe.
I would go with Zverev.
Okay.
I just don't think Tiafoe can do it. Yeah. It's a matter of choosing outside of guys who I basically don't think have a shot at that's better than 50%. So yeah, I would actually go Zverev.
I mean, maybe I'm partly just influenced by the fact that Tiafoe is a breakup in the third here, and he's a little closer to a semi-final than
to a semi-final, yes, but
I know.
to the title, he's really far away from the title right now, I think.
He is, but he's possibly closer than Zverev. That's what I'm just saying, just because Zverev's got to
go. To the US Open, yes. To the US Open, yes. I
mean, Zverev would have to probably go through Carlos I mean, not definitely, but this would be a tough four matches really for Zverev to go through, especially with the way he was physically yesterday, to go through Sinner, Alcaraz, Medvedev, and Djokovic. That would be a very... And I also would have doubts about Zverev's capabilities of getting through and getting over the line in some of those matches.
That would basically be the top 4 contenders in a row that he would eliminate.
Yeah.
Sinner, Alcaraz, Medvedev, Djokovic.
Yeah. And he would be in the top 5 contenders, so he's there, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Someone's wearing a Moratoglu hat there. I don't know if she's just a member of the audience or in someone's team.
Well, looks like maybe a re-break is coming with the forehand pass of Shelton.
It's an unbelievable pass. Wow.
Will they make us sit here until 8 a.m. today as well?
Yeah.
This match is more fast-paced, so probably not.
It is faster paced, although Tiafoe is taking a little time on his serves and the lengthy break at the end of that second set from Ben. But yes, maybe it is a bit quicker paced overall.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, Ben Shelton on the second serve there. That's an annoying return into the net for him. 15-40. It was indeed ghosty.
And it's gonna be another one of these forehand short-angled cross-court passes that gets him there.
It
Although
does.
not directly this time,
No.
but still.
Break point done. Break of serve. 1 game all.
Shelton getting to a slam quarterfinal and slam semifinal this year would be pretty. I mean, it would be so weird given his non-slam results or like non-Australian Open, non-US Open results.
I mean, he will have already, if he does get past the quarterfinal, he will have already, done something that Rublev has never done.
Oh, he might tomorrow, though.
Well, indeed, yeah. And Fritz has never done. And Felix, has he been in a semi-final?
Yeah.
US
has,
Open or US Open?
One of them, 2021, one of them. Which one it was? US, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I know he beat Carlos. I'm not sure if that was in the 4th round of the quarterfinals or Carlos retired.
Yeah, that was the quarters. So there you have it.
And then he lost easily to Medvedev, I think, in the semis.
Yeah.
Shelton has raced into a 40-love lead here on his serve, mind you.
Yeah, that
140.
one for 30 love was pretty awesome.
Although he has just double faulted with a big second serve. He went 140 miles an hour on the second serve. Paid the price. Jane is talking about the heat tomorrow getting under the Medvedev skin. Let's see. There's plenty of things that get under Rublev's skin too.
You can hope for it, but the matchup is awful. But maybe the heat, it's indeed, maybe it helps. It should be a more competitive match than Fritz Djokovic, that's for sure.
Yeah. I thought Novak was there for the taking today. It sounds weird considering he won so comfortably.
That he didn't play all that well, or...
Yeah, I thought
mean,
even some long rallies that you would normally expect him to just crank things up and produce a winner from, and just get involved in one of these rallies that Casper Ruud and Andrei Rublev can just not, and Yannick Sinner can just not get out of. Fritz was in some of those rallies today, and the odd occasion when he wasn't spraying an unforced error because he was losing patience. Actually, those odd rallies, it was Djokovic that was throwing it in a slightly unusual unforced error.
Honestly, I think if you're winning a match as comfortably as this, it doesn't really matter because you don't have to bring the full focus, which I'm sure he still had gears to go up to. So basically, I don't think this is an indicator whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ghosty, we kind of chatted about this actually yesterday because there was an ESPN graphic with 4 black players in the quarterfinals, and there were Keys and Shelton, and people were saying in the comments that it's actually quite controversial to put them there. So.
Are you therefore? But you're still going for Rublev tomorrow, Jane, despite your appreciation of Medvedev.
Come again? This goes to Jane.
I'm talking about
okay.
Jane in the comments. It's just that I know that perhaps her loyalties might be divided tomorrow. I like both guys. The only reason I want Medvedev to win is because I just fear a Rublev. I mean, there's all sorts of things that would have to go on for this to be the case, but a Rublev Djokovic final would be painful. It would make Casper Ruud Djokovic look interesting.
I don't know. I mean, this is quite a quite a theory that Casper Ruud would be made interesting against Novak Djokovic by Andrei Rublev. Let's just pray it does not happen.
Yeah.
Everyone is just praying for the Alcaraz Djokovic final, I suppose. I don't know. Like, I would be fine with Shelton winning against Djokovic, and if he was actually to
Shelton
push Alcaraz.
Alcaraz could be
Yeah,
fun. I mean, not it might not be. It might be straight sets Carlos, but it still
if he
could.
was to stand up to the challenge, if he was to stand up to it, go ahead. And likewise, actually, for Medvedev, like if he was to give us a great final with Djokovic, why not? Let him beat Alcaraz. I just don't really believe in the ability of Rublev to give us a great final against Djokovic. Zverev could, but by that point, he would probably just be able to give us nothing because of exhaustion. If he beats Sinner, Alcaraz, and Medvedev in 3 consecutive 5-setters or something.
I just have a question here from Eric. Do we believe that Shelton will hit 20 aces or more today? Probably
How
not, because
many? How many is he on?
he's on 7 right now, and even if they go 5 sets, we're at about halfway.
Yeah, looks like only really if we go 5, this becomes a possibility.
Where is he? I'm
I
just
think
trying to.
this is some seriously good returning as well from Shelton, which of course is a bit of a surprise given the fact that he's the worst statistically. He's the worst returner in the top 50, just behind Chris Eubanks, just behind Hubert Hurkacz. This year at least, because Hurkacz's return stats used to be much higher. Shelton, well, they used to be much higher, but he was mostly playing against weaker opposition.
Oh, it's Tiafoe's turn to be under pressure. 15-40 on the Francis serve.
And what a point from Shelton as well here. I mean, he's getting serves back. He's hitting a backhand down the line that I maybe have seen from him. Well, that sort of with this sort of shape quality on the ball, I think
Yeah.
maybe the first time I've seen from him. Usually it's just a flat bomb if he goes down the line, and yeah, he gets that break.
I'm just gonna make a cup of tea. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Tiafoe, known fixer, will probably fix this match. I mean, it's a Grand Slam quarterfinal, I mean, these guys are not fixing this match. It would be very detrimental to Tiafoe's career, and with the amount of money involved in the actual prizes here, there's no actual motivation to either. However, it's quickly 15:30 right now. Shelton trying the +1 drop shot, but Frances just easily tracks it down. He rushes Tiafoe to the backhand side though, so one breakpoint saved. Can kind of see on Tiafoe's face how much he wants this next point, which maybe could not really be that good a thing for him if he's feeling a bit more tight than usual, and he is a player who kind of needs to be relaxed to compete and like show his best level. Same with Shelton, really. Shelton tries to crush the forehand. Inside out goes in, but inside in does not. And it's like a meter out as well. So back on serve, but Tiafoe still needs to hold to get it back to level.
I'm just coming back briefly because it's Diego wants to ask anyway. Do I think that Tiafoe's? Well, he has just come back, so yes, it's quite easy right now. At least come back in this set. Just quickly, some of the right-handed forehands from Tiafoe in a few rallies today have reminded me a bit of Rafa Nadal, albeit on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand. So I was just watching him kind of semi on the defensive in that last rally, just looping that right-hander in a sort of Nadal on the hard court in particular-esque. And yet it's kind of funny because it's against Ben Shelton, who's the left-hander, of course. But yeah, and yet also Francis generally hits a lot flatter than Rafa as well. It was just during that rally I just saw that comparison. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sure. Yeah, so far 4 breaks in 5 games in the first set, which is definitely not what you expect from a Tiafoe against Shelton match. I guess we don't really know what to expect from a Shelton Tiafoe match since it's the first one, but we had our assumptions. We had our assumptions about this first set, and so far they're definitely not turning out correct. Yeah, we are kind of counting on this match now to sort of save the day in New York, right? Woo! Shelton tries to go for that hyper aggressive forehand again and misses it by like 1 or 2 meters. There's a lot of refinement obviously needed in his game, and he does still feel extremely raw, but he's made 2 Grand Slam quarterfinals this year, which is really an unbelievable feat. This seemed like a pretty great second serve from Tiafoe, but Shelton is able to make the adjustment with his feet again, despite initially thinking that it was going to be a completely different direction, and blasts the second serve return. Tiafoe quickly tries to redirect it down the line, but good serve gets Tiafoe up to 30-15. Woo. Spicy forehand up the line from Tiafoe. He was a bit out of position and definitely a risky shot to take here, but manages to get the ball like half on the line. Yeah, and from the replay, it seemed like the electronic line calling is definitely very, very accurate in this. When we saw the close-up replay, it was exactly where they showed the ball landed. Yeah, no, Stepenko would not like it. So we're back to 3-all, and let's see if Shelton holds now. He lost, I think he served the last two. No, he did the first game, right, and the third game that he hadn't served this set. That was pretty hilarious because Shelton comes up to his box and asks his dad how many games to a ball change, and his dad, had to count it, which I get it because no one really knows it off the top of his head, and his dad then told him 2 more games. Is he right? Let's count it ourselves. 23. Yeah, he is right. It is indeed 2 more games until the ball change. We're waiting for someone, but I think, yeah, it's already done. So is this really out? I mean, this is one that Tiafoe regrets. There was nothing on the ball. He was just trying to get it fairly deep and apparently missed it by a few centimeters. And if it got to low 30, of course, he would have been close to putting Shelton into trouble again. Nacho Forcadell is the chair umpire. He holds off the crowd before the first and the second serve. And a great return from Tiafoe gives him the opportunity to go to the net. He plays a soft touch volley, and Shelton cannot lob him from that position. Would have been a pretty spectacular shot if he made it, but he wasn't really close, I would say. I'd say there's definitely a bit of a feeling of tightness, between the two. Both of them love the big stage. Like Tiafoe, of course, a semifinalist on Ash last year. Well, on Ash at the U.S. Open, and some of these matches on Ash, of course. And Shelton as well. We see what sort of results and how he can also play at the in Melbourne or New York, the biggest stages of tennis. But certainly, it feels like both guys are not as relaxed as they would usually be, maybe, which is understandable. It's a huge opportunity for both of them. Maybe even more so for Francis, who probably feels like Shelton probably feels like he's just at the beginning of his career, right? He is. Well, maybe Tiafoe, it's actually more important for him. But anyway, another good return combination from the big Thoe gives him a break point. Finished it up with a class volley too. Very nice technique. He just blocked the ball. And let's see what Shelton can do with this second serve as well. So there is a look that Tiafoe can potentially find here. He gives him a +1 forehand though, but Shelton did not do enough with it. Tentative on the placement. I guess it was also a pretty short ball, and he kind of didn't have an idea as to how to rip it. So Tiafoe gets a forehand pass on his racket. Didn't really need to move all that much either, and Shelton cannot get the volley over the net. But it was just a very uncomfortable position that he put himself with that approach shot being not ideal. So 4-3 Tiafoe, and we've had 5 breaks in 7 games so far. Yeah, on my screen they're showing some highlights, and it's Shelton putting his finger next to his head. Then he lost 3 games, I think, in a row, and two of them being breaks since he did that. They're saying that Pat, your guys are talking, I guess, about the 70% of Americans thinking they'll win a game against a pro, right? Well, Roddick said he beat a guy with a frying pan. Yeah, we've talked about it a few times over the past couple of days, but like my assumption is that winning a point over the course of 48 potential options, it could happen. I think you can lock into a return or maybe a net court, maybe line somewhere. Well, you're not going to hit that many shots, so there's not that many opportunities to. But maybe the opponent just makes an error. Does not strike the ball cleanly. It could happen in 48 points, even if the opponent is Novak Djokovic. However, winning a game, actually combining 4 of these points, I don't have. I am pretty clear about the fact that I would have stand absolutely no chance of winning a game against a pro, and probably like any pro as well, regardless of his level or even hers. I don't think it would really change much. There was a nice point with Shelton's volley, and then Tiafoe trying to lob him off the baseline with his own, and Shelton gets it with the smash. So 15-0. Shelton actually hit Tiafoe there, but of course it's completely accidental. Tiafoe with the drop shot, but it's not good enough. But this lob will also be too short, just like on the previous point. So he tries a drop shot lob combination again, and again it's inadequate. It was a fairly difficult, I think, sort of slice response that Shelton gave him, but still, it was just way too short. So 15-30. This set is pretty crazy. If we get another break, 6 breaks in 8 games, with Tiafoe Shelton, with guys who serve like that would be weird. This is a very good reactive return from Shelton. Like, his returning is not really not that poor today, compared to most of his 2023 matches, right? His break percentage in 2023, I think, is about 13%. I would assume that at the US Open it's actually really high so far. I might check that soon. Also, how where his in general, where his return points won are, because I'm assuming that he is up by a lot on his 2023 stats when it comes to that. 2023, he is generally winning 31% of points on return. Ooh. Tiafoe approaches the net there and really had an easy, well, easy maybe is a stretch, but he had a play on this volley for sure. It wasn't on the stretch or anything. Tries to play a soft drop volley, but he lands it into the middle of the net. Or it barely reached the net, really. So time to see if Shelton can convert this breakpoint opportunity. And he can, because Tiafoe just sends a forehand long. Maybe again we're seeing some degree of nerves here. Yeah, and against Kachin, Shelton broke 4 times and won 38% of points on return, which definitely is an improvement on his year-long stats. Same against Team, 1 break in how many? 7 games, I guess. No, yeah, in 6 return games and 41% points on return, so that's also an improvement on his year-long stats. Same would be against every opponent here, I think. Against Karatsev, he broke 6 times, yeah, and won 41% as well on return. And then against Paul, even against Paul, he won 37% points on return and also broke 6 times. So yeah, he is improving his return stats this year, like by a wide margin. At this US Open, with 5 breaks here already, 45% return points won. Yeah, so he basically hasn't gone below 37, whereas his his average this year is 31. And also 17% has been his lowest break percentage, while his average for the season is 13. So that's definitely one of the categories where he's overperforming his year-long stats by a really wide margin. Okay, that was interesting because Shelton hits this serve out wide and he's pretty certain he missed it. But, fairly love, the call is there. I saw that they were showing the close call on the screen to the crowd, but we actually didn't see it. So cannot tell you how close it was to being out, but I think both Tiafoe and Shelton were actually expecting a line call, and there was a bit of a delay with Shelton just standing there in the middle of the court and not knowing what to do. 9th ace for Ben, so if it goes 5, he still has a chance, of course, of getting to that 20 that we were talking about earlier. 143 miles per hour now, but he misses it, so I don't know why the crowd is so. Really? I mean, he goes for a pretty deep, pretty big second serve return and messes it up. Brian Shelton is like turning his head. Why? Why is that? Did he think that it was in, or is he just not satisfied with his son's decision? And there's another double fault now. This time I don't think he was really trying to risk it all that much. So from 40 love, we're suddenly at 40-30 with 2 double faults. This is where Shelton would really like just a 3 point on serve. And it looks like he did. My stream lagged for a moment, so I'm actually not sure. But yeah, my stream lagged and I can't even see that point. But he obviously held. And Brian Shelton leaves the stadium. I suppose that's only, he's probably only going to go pee. But the funny thing is that maybe that's why he was disappointed with Shelton hitting a double fault, right? Because maybe he just wanted to go to the toilet already. And then, of course, there was also another double fault. And now a big moment for both guys, but also for Tiafoe, who will have to serve out this game to, win the service game to stay in the set.
What have I missed? Because I actually have missed all the last 3 or 4 games.
More breaks, more. Tiafoe just getting maybe a bit tight when he was 4-3 up on serve, and then missing. It was like a pretty easy volley and then a pretty easy forehand to give Shelton the break. Shelton then serve botted a bit before hitting 2 double faults, and Brian Shelton was actually out of the stadium. Maybe he went to pee. That's what I'm assuming he did.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was very, Shelton was 40 love up, and then he was Brian Shelton. You could see that he was very disappointed when his son hit a couple of double faults, and I was like, okay, why is he reacting like this? And I think he just wanted to go to the toilet earlier.
We've got 10 people on Facebook right now. I'm always a bit curious about these Facebookers anyway, but especially when they join us at 5:30 in the morning. Jane says she needs the toilet as well, so yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so it's Francis who's under a bit of pressure now on his serve, 4-5. Your stream lagging, by the way. I don't know if that did it catch up again, or is it sort of stayed 15 seconds further back, if that makes sense?
My stream has actually died on me, so I'm going to be using another one now.
All right. Well, I'll talk us through a couple of points while you catch up, if you like.
I have that. I have that on already, but okay. Not sure what happened. It just showed that the match is over, which of course it's not.
I'm drinking my last tea bag. I'm not saying I'm stopping drinking tea. I'm just saying that's the last one in the batch that my sister gave me when I was at Wimbledon. So that's lasted me from Wimbledon until now. Tiafoe on the offensive, and it's worked. Had to do it twice. I always think that the more they come back, the more, even if the next one is easier, mentally it gets tougher. Let's say you have a big one and it comes back. You have a bigger one, but this one's even easier and it comes back. And they do get mentally with each one that comes back, they get more and more difficult. Even if they're getting shorter and shorter on the court.
That's Borna Gojo against Novak Djokovic. He actually did say something similar, I guess.
Did I?
I mean,
it may have happened during the rally. I said that, yeah.
No. I'm saying he did say something similar after.
Oh, did he? In his press conference,
I think, yeah. I read some quotes today. I can't remember what exactly, but it was basically about Novak putting every return back in play.
Yeah, dispiriting. Well, this has been a good service game for Francis, although he did get away with that last one, I think, in that that was a return that Ben would expect to make. Ghosty, you use your phone to. I'm guessing he's sitting back and relaxing with some Cubans. And when I say with some Cubans, I don't mean Cuban people. I mean cigars. And watching it on his laptop or TV whilst he's chatting to us on his phone. Yes,
I was thinking if that was Emma Watson. It was Emma Watson. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's next to Wintour. Anna Wintour, is it?
Yeah.
And I wondered, when I first saw her a couple of hours ago, I was like, why is she wearing such ridiculous clothes? And then I saw who was sat next to her. I was like, okay.
Anna Winter, I only know because she was like friendly with Federer.
I know, I
That's
know.
literally the only reason I've heard of her.
Yeah, but that's the first time I actually became familiar with it. I then later discovered that there was a film basically based on her that she didn't like, and yeah.
Okay, my stream is back. What's the film? Is it Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, she's not a big fan of that because too well. I had never heard of her until about 2019, and there was a YouTube video with Federer, and I heard him say something about Anna, but I actually thought this was a person who worked at Wimbledon. And then at the end of the video, it sort of became apparent that she was anyway. Whatever.
Was it the 73 questions
Yeah,
or something
exactly.
like that? Yeah, I remember that one.
At times, it's funny, that video.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty good. Yeah.
Who's your favorite opponent? No, who's your least favorite opponent?
And he
Can you
said
remember?
what? Also Rafa, or
Yeah, he said he says Rafa Nadal, and who's your favorite? He said also Rafa Nadal,
yeah.
and it's Tiafoe's turn to maybe put a returnable serve, making a returnable serve into an unreturnable, and back over to you, Francis. 5-6. I think I know what Jake means there. Okay, Ghosty. Yeah, I see that one.
Shelton played a 5-setter against Zhiren Zhang at the Australian Open, saving a match point. That I can tell you.
Shelton did.
Yeah, because someone is.
Okay.
Well, Terry was saying I don't think he's played many 5-setters, and also against Wolf, right? There was also a 5.
In this tournament.
No.
Oh, okay, in Australia.
Australia, yeah. And against someone at Wimbledon, the guy he beat in the first round. He lost to Jera in the second, and he beat someone in the first round, and I think it was also in 5. But it's skipped.
Tara Daniel. He was 2 sets to love.
Tara Daniel. Tara Daniel, yes. Tara Daniel. Yeah, that was not a great Wimbledon campaign.
Did you expect a bit more from him on the grass then, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, losing to Jera. I guess the whole year has been expecting more from Shelton, not getting it, and then at the two slams, Australian Open and the US Open, expecting less from Shelton and getting more. So
I actually went into the US Open last year just having not a lot, but a little expectation. I think he was a potential second or third round for Medvedev, and I was like, oh, well, just doing a review of the draw. I was like, well, that I'm not predicting this guy to knock Medvedev out, but he has been causing a few ripples on the tour, having just recently joined a couple of weeks before and beating Rude, was it in maybe Cincinnati, was it?
yes.
So it's like, well, that just could be an unknown quantity for Medvedev to deal with. And I think he went out first round.
Yeah, but there was also Yibing Wu in that little section. Shelton
who
lost
did
to
end
Nuno
up playing Medvedev, right?
Yes. And Shelton lost to Nuno Borges, I think. And then Borges lost to Wu. So it was a high quality section. I cannot remember who Borges played, right? Or did Wu play Borges in the opening? No, it was Shelton Borges, right? No,
Eventually, of course, Medvedev goes out to Kyrgios, I think.
Yeah, just around there later. Yeah, Shelton lost to Nuno Borges. I can't remember who Yibing Wu played in the first round, but then he definitely beat Borges. It was also a tough match. And yeah, then as you said, played Medvedev 6-4, 6-2, 6-2 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. It was straight sets, yeah.
But Medvedev said that Ebing should be in the top 10 or something. And yeah.
I did think it was a pretty high level from both players that day, and it filled me with some confidence for Medvedev's campaign, but that bubble was burst very quickly.
Basiashvili. Okay. Basiashvili was Ebing's first round opponent. Yeah, I remember that now. That was not a match. That's why it's hard to.
Where's Basilashvili right now? I haven't heard from him for a while.
Has not played since the French Open. He is down to 344 in the ATP rankings. This year he's won 3 matches. But he's done that before. In 2020 he was 4-16. It's just that there it did not. 4-14 because this is also counting 2 exhibitions. So 4-14. But the main difference was that in 2020 he did not lose the ranking because it was the frozen BS, and that's why he actually still had it in 2021. He was able to play Doha, for example, when he beat Federer and won the title. And right now he basically has to rebuild from scratch. And knowing Basiashvili, you gotta wonder if he has the patience to do it.
So we're into a tie break, and we're at 1-1 on serve.
What if I saw one of the last matches of Basiashvili live in Cagliari this year? Because I think since then he only really played the French, or maybe he played like one more match. Yeah, he played one more match in Rome. Who played is also not perfectly right. He retired after 7 games.
Shelton going on the offensive, but it doesn't work out because he sticks a backhand volley into the net. What's this about Wu getting the subway? Did he get on the subway while he was there?
I don't know.
It's a nice get out of jail free card there for Shelton with an ace down the tee, 2-2.
I thought there was just one get out of jail free card in Monopoly, but apparently Shelton has more of them. Yeah.
There you go. He's got 2. Yeah, 2 up his sleeve, which is ironic because he's not wearing any. 2-3. Over to you, Francis.
Is it the first sleeveless quarterfinal of the US Open?
I was thinking about the sleevelessness, yeah. Tiafoe tries to go big as well, but doesn't get it right. So it's a second serve here for Shelton to look at. Shelton on the backhand return. Racing around the court, but now he's on the forehand. That's a very short forehand, but Francis doesn't punish and nets. So 4-2 Shelton at the exchange of ends. Those of you just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button. Plenty of you watching on Facebook, feel free to come and join the comments. Get in the comments below the video on Facebook and maybe make friends with Ghosty or Jane or Jake or Peaches or Max or whoever else. Emma Watson even. I don't think Emma Watson's in the chat, by the way, but just saw her name there. Hit the like button anyway, wherever you're watching. Indeed, Jane. Indeed. Okay. Tense moments. I think Eric has a bet on the amount of aces that will happen because he's not very happy being 8.
Definitely. Isn't it 9?
He's actually also it could be 9 now. Anyway, but he's asking for help from God as well.
Yeah, you need 5 sets at this point for sure if you are to have a shot.
And given how he writes in caps lock on in Spanish, I'm just guessing that maybe he doesn't speak English, despite his rather English-sounding name. Okay, where are we at in terms of the scoreboard here? We've got 4-3 Shelton with a mini break advantage. Backhand now to the forehand of taking it quite easy in this rally, hitting it fairly central. It's Shelton who ups the ante first. Shelton goes for the drop shot. It's not going to win the point. It is ultimately, though, because Francis is sort of a drop shot, cross court, just clipped the net, and that net cord ended up putting it out, I suspect. Without the net cord, it may well have been a very juicy winner. Maybe Shelton would have chased it down. Either way, 5-3 Shelton, and Shelton have another serve here. Someone's certainly supporting Shelton in the crowd there because they just stood up. Backhand return. You do feel as though this point may well decide it. Forehand Tiafoe, and it's a wayward backhand from Shelton. I say that it may well decide it, and I was just talking about Francis's good record in tie breaks, and yet, of course, Francis is also the guy who blew a 6-2 or 6-1 lead over Watchalong in Australia in a tie break.
Oh, that's
I'm going to say 6-2. I think it was
4 for third set tiebreak. Yeah, that we watched. I remember.
Yep.
I can't remember how the score progression was, but
he was. I'm pretty sure it's 6-2, and he ends up losing it something like 10-8, and ends up losing the match as well.
Yeah, it was a very fun.
Good return there. Wow, Ben Shelton, take a bow, my friend. Sort of wave into the crowd, Queen stroke Pope-esque. I see you, Ghosty. Yeah, like I said, it was sort of Rafa-esque, some of those loopy forehands from maybe Rafa in 2015, 2016. Okay, second serve here for Shelton to look at. It's a set point for the American, which doesn't help, of course, because they are both American. And that second serve deserved to be punished, but it wasn't. Ben goes long with a backhand return. Probably wasn't far long, but it's out. Nevertheless, he's now got a serve. 6-5 set point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that first serve was a bit wild.
What about the second, though?
I thought it was going to be a second serve ace or a second serve bomb of some description, but it sticks all after a double fault. That's a nice gift for Francis. In fact, there's kind of a couple of gifts, really, because that backhand return, just like a couple of other second serves from Francis in the last few minutes, haven't been punished by Shelton. And I just wonder if right now the psychological weight, not necessarily when he had set points, but the weight he'll be feeling right now, having had a couple of set points, it's going to have to be a mental hurdle that he's going to have to get over. Stay in the point. Okay, Shelton, where are you going with this first serve? You're going into the net and clipping it long, so it's a second serve here. Surely now, Francis, the momentum is with him.
Yeah, guess where Shelton is going with the second serve as well.
Double fault. Yeah. I think he was kind of going big on those second serves as well in terms of pace.
I don't think so. 102 here.
Oh, 102. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, that's not that big then. Not big at all.
Yeah, I think neither of them was really. Maybe it was really big. They were more. What the heck? I mean, I'm lost for words. I don't want to spoil it to you, but yeah, this is a weird tiebreak now.
Okay, Francis to serve. Run around. Oh, is that landed in? Okay. Nice one. A run around forehand return that was hit with a lot of velocity. and Ghosty has also seen it. Oh no, actually, I think he's probably a point behind because he's talking about wow Tiafoe. Diego, we are deep into a tie break and no one is winning right now, Diego. That's the problem. I cannot answer that question. It's 7-all in the tie break. A sick return indeed, Jane. 7-all. Tiafoe to serve. Backhand return. Forehand Francis. Backhand Shelton. Forehand Francis up in the ante a little bit. And it's Shelton hitting that flat backhand. Shelton again on the backhand. Oh, it's a forehand into the net. So it's Francis's turn to perhaps gift his opponent a point. 8-7. Again, Shelton has a set point. And again, it's on his serve.
Yeah,
So,
he got himself back on track after 2 double faults, but
yeah.
wow, I mean, 6-5, 2 double faults in the tiebreak. How often do you see it?
Was it 6-5? So did Francis have a set point then at 7-6?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was that forehand return that Shelton, unleashed on.
Yeah. So who's facing a set point at that point? Okay. Set point number 3 now for Shelton. He should win it. Not necessarily, though. He should win it. And he does. Ben Shelton, take a bow. He cups his ear to the crowd now. He's loving it. So, Diego, I can now answer this question more comfortably. It is advantage Ben Shelton. 2-1.
Good commentary, good analysis, but that's what it is. At 7-0 in the tiebreak, you can't really make predictions.
No.
Shelton showing his youth. Yeah, the 2 double faults. That was an awful moment, and then
Ben's shorts look pretty wet as well. I mean, the t-shirt, sure, but mind you, he's grinning like a Cheshire cat right now. I would imagine almost no one knows that expression. Bearing in mind, I don't think we have many British people tuning in right now.
yeah, that forehand return obviously is something we are going to remember if Shelton wins the match.
Was Francis a little bit timid in that tiebreak?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone here is like less relaxed than usual, then it's actually Tiafoe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shelton is just sort of playing like he usually is. He of course has hit a couple of very untimely double faults, and he is nervous, but he's still playing like his own brand of energy-filled tennis, I guess. And Tiafoe is, I guess, the one who's just a little tighter than usual, not enjoying it as much as he usually would. Which does not mean that he will lose the match. Shelton is clearly capable of wobbling when close to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that against Paul. He kind of did it here as well, but managed to get away with it with one of the strongest forehand returns I've seen. Well, maybe not all time or something, but definitely just an absolute bomb there. And we are already approaching the morning, but of course today that's not going to be that much of an issue today for me, given that I had a pretty long nap during Kirsta Muchova and what apparently was a very tight bagel set. Or at least one game in a bagel set.
20 minutes, yeah.
Muchova Goff should be a cracker, I guess, then.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Fingers crossed that Muchova is able to get in positions like she was today and produce her full repertoire of shots. Of course, Coco's possibly not going to gift to those positions that Castella did. One or two people in the chat as the match began were like, this is too close to call. I must say that I didn't necessarily think it was going to be that comfortable in terms of the scoreline, but I did fairly confidently predict a Muchova win. And of course, Muchova's having a pretty good year. I mean, Wimbledon was a bit weird for her. I don't know if this had any effect. It certainly had an effect on me as a fan, knowing that she didn't get her campaign underway until the Thursday. So she's playing her first round while Iga's already into her third round. And I was thinking this is all a bit weird. And she didn't really, I don't think she played at all between Roland Garros and Wimbledon, Muchova. That doesn't always necessarily mean much, and you can play yourself into a bit of form, but you need to win your first match to do so. And she went out first round. Was it to Yulia Niemeyer as well, which is obviously a tough first round on the grass. Otherwise, I think many people, Jack in particular, were predicting a deep run for her there. And of course, she's made all 4 now Grand Slam quarterfinals. Getting to the final in Roland Garros and semi-finals now in New York. Quarterfinal, I think, is her deepest run at Wimbledon. And I'm going to say quarterfinals in Australia as well. Goff is the favourite, though. I think we spoke about that after Goff's win today as well. Whoever she was going to end up facing, she was always going to be at least the slight favourite going into the semi-final.
Yeah, I guess slight if you're saying that Muchova is, was great today.
Oh, she's been to a semi-final in Australia in 2021.
Yeah, she beat Ashbarty in the quarters.
So who did she lose to in the semis then? Brady or no? Jim Brady was the year before. Yeah, Brady, mate.
Brady or Osaka, but I don't know.
Yeah,
can't remember that.
Somebody was, Terry was saying that sort of both players there were a little anxious in the tiebreak, and I would tend to agree with that. The only thing is that Shelton was able to hit through it, if you like, hit through those anxieties, and none more so than that forehand return winner.
Yeah, it goes to you. To think it can't be sustained. The whole year that we've seen from Shelton would kind of suggest that. But at the same time, he's already got 2 quarterfinals at the Grand Slam level, and he came pretty close to beating Paul. He is 2 sets to 1 up on Tiafoe. So actually, who's to say that it can't be sustained? Clearly, there is something to it. Shelton has 9 unforced errors. That's
a bit low.
That's not accurate, obviously.
Yeah, that's from TNNS. That's just way too low.
Guys, don't. I mean, he has 10 double faults,
Yeah, the other thing is
31 unforced errors according to the US Open website.
Yeah. Ghosty, you're letting me down. Sean's suggesting 9 in the set is a bit more realistic. Ghosty, you're supposed to be my stat man. Yeah, he knows.
Well, last set he had 16, so yeah. $31, yes, Ghosty. That's not much, over the course of 3 sets, and especially considering that he has 10 double faults. Because that means that over the course of 3 sets, let's say over the course of 17 plus 13, 30 games, he has only hit 21 not double faults unforced errors, which obviously isn't much. Djokovic hit 100 against Gilles Simon and still won. Katerina Alexandrova at Wimbledon, she hit over 90 against Madison Brengel and still won in a 3-set match. Wow. And actually, while you were gone, there was also a fun moment I remember now when Shelton asked his dad how long until the ball change, and his dad took 15 seconds to count it and told him that it's 2 games into games. Apparently, Ben is not a math whiz.
Tweet here from Vanch. Ben Shelton is out here wilding, soaking it all in, double faulting twice in a row, shrugging that off with outlandish returns. Yeah, shrugging it off was what I was suggesting. Thriving on the energy, absolute box office. Even if his tennis and decisions have so much room for growth, Ben is just loving the stage. And he's won the first point of the 4th set as well on the Tiafoe serve. with a great backhand return, punishing this time the second serve. Given the amount of missed opportunities there were towards the end of that third set on the second serve of Francis, it again suggests that there has been a bit of a gap between the two players tonight, that maybe the scoreboard maybe even flatters Francis a little bit. I mean, like I said, that first set, it would have been maybe a bit harsh on Francis, but in another universe, it could have been a bagel.
Go see. I'm just using the US Open website, for the slams. That's the best option always. Basically anything official rather than
the thing is,
flash score
TNS
Google.
is pretty much, from what little I understand about the operation, is they are just a skeleton operation. With unforced errors, you do need human beings, right, punching stuff in.
Well, not really. They get these stats from somewhere.
But there must be a human being doing this, right, for the unforced errors.
Well, not for TNS. I mean, they
No,
are
not for
getting
TNS, but US Open, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just don't know how TNS can get that somehow. I mean,
they could get it from the US Open, I guess. But that maybe is not doable,
They probably need some manpower, is what I'm suggesting, somewhere in the chain.
Technicalities, maybe it doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, Flash Score, Google, TNS, they're going to be wrong with this constantly, with stats in general, so basically don't believe in that. If you see a crazy stat, like, constantly I see tweets or messages in group chats like, guys, let's see, did you see that someone hit 95% of his first serves in, and then you go to the actual ATP or WTA website and it's like 60 or something. So
a runaround forehand from Shelton, not quite as impressive as the one in the tiebreak, but still pretty impressive. It turns out to be a winner anyway, and as a result, he has 2 break points. Forehand Ben to the forehand, of course, of his opponent. Forehand cross court. Francis, I was almost tempted to say he's checking out of the point, but it actually turns out to be an excellent sort of slice drop shot. It's very rare for Francis to be on a court and be kind of outperformed as a showman, if you like, by his opponent. And it kind of showed in that celebration for that winner. It was a spectacular winner, but he almost felt as though he didn't want to sort of celebrate too much because all of the showman stuff is going on down the other end of the court. Anyway, more importantly, it's a breakpoint save, 30-40. First serve goes into the net.
There will be more to showboat. There will be more to brag about. There will be more to celebrate.
Backhand now to the backhand of Ben. It's a winner from Ben Shelton down the line.
Yeah, that's the more usual backhand down the line from Shelton, as I was saying earlier.
I mean, I don't know if Novak is going to give him such an easy ball to perhaps deal with, but if he can do some stuff like this, maybe he might bring it to Novak, especially if he's just feeling good. Just that's what I never felt Fritz felt comfortable in his own skin today in that environment.
Maybe the third, like there was a bit of a moment at the beginning of the third set, but he came out not believing he could win, then maybe had it for a moment. But
I mean, in the middle and end part of the match, he had 4 break points, I think, on in 2 separate games including I think maybe when Novak was trying to serve it out. I mean, certainly Novak was sort of struggling to get over the line. Put it that way.
There was a break point in the last game for sure. But honestly, at that stage, I was very disillusioned with this match at all. Well, I was very disillusioned with this match before it even happened. I think it just sucks that it actually confirmed all the worries that I had regarding Fritz's performance in that. He still has not taken a set against Djokovic in a match where Djokovic does not have a huge abdominal tear.
Ghosty, were you not saying Sinner was good at the drop shot yesterday? I can't remember. But he could, of course, being ironic here with this. But it was a great drop shot from Francis. I mean, I know he ended up losing his serve, but That was very
That
nice.
sounds that sounds like a beautiful stat, by the way. Djokovic versus Fritz in sets when Djokovic does not have an abdominal tear, 0 and 17, and Djokovic versus Fritz. Fritz versus Djokovic in a match where Djokovic has an abdominal tear, 2-3.
2-3, yeah. Good return from Francis, but it's not an outright winner, and nor is that backhand, so it's 30-15.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to get him, really. So much momentum right now on Shelton's racket, and Tiafoe still kind of flustered, right? Like a bit of just a bit tight compared to what we are used to seeing from him.
Mm-hmm.
There's no swag to his game today, to his behavior as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he seems a bit underwhelmed, and yet also maybe slightly overwhelmed by his opponent, and it's like I say, he's having to share the stage today, and that's very unusual for Francis.
Yeah, and instead of like building on it and sort of laughing along with Shelton and maybe being happy for him when he hits a great shot, he's like sort of returned to his shell, I suppose, which you don't really see a lot. It's not like Alcaraz Evans, when one guy hits a great shot and then they're just laughing together. It's actually just Tiafoe not in his natural element. But of course, still not done yet.
No, if he just can hold on to his serve for as long as possible, and therefore just see how Ben deals with the finish line.
How many double faults Shelton can come up with once it goes deep into the set.
Tiafoe holds for 1-2 or 2-1, obviously down with the break. I think it's just a combination that the match is obviously getting away from him, and that's just making it a bit tricky. I don't think it's anything else. It's just the natural ebb of the match away from him. If he had won that tie break with a spectacular shot, it would be him that would be cupping his ears and cheering to the crowd, and it may be Ben that would feel a little uncomfortable.
But that's been the case the whole match, right? Like, at least from when I joined. That if you were to say which one of the guys is not playing with like his usual energy tonight, it would certainly be Francis. I think we were talking about it even before the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Maybe this banana that Francis is munching on will give him the boost he needs for potentially the tail end of this match. Okay, Ben, let's see what you're made of, because there's a long way to go yet. It's kind of like when Carlos got that early break against Novak at Wimbledon. It was like, okay, you've got the break, but how are you going to do serving this out? You've got 4 more serves to go. Well, he dealt with it pretty well. I'm not even sure if Carlos had to face a break point in those 4 games at Wimbledon. There was plenty of first serves getting in anyway. Backhand return from the big foe. Low net coverage there from Francis. Maybe heeding some of the warnings from Ghosty. Backhand slice. Good depth there from... Oh, nice depth. And then eventually cranking up the pressure from Ben. 15 love. Oh, Brad Gilbert. Oh, I thought he was taken to Twitter, but no.
Yeah, Jane, I think we also touched on this earlier, that there's probably more pressure on Foe here. And it's showing.
Because of his age, you mean, or expectation?
Both. Like, it's a combination, right? But age expectations come out of age, I think. It's not that Francis is old or anything. It's just he's at a very different stage of his career to Shelton, right? For Shelton, It's already an amazing result.
Yeah.
Francis has to treat it as a wonderful opportunity for him. The highest ranked opponent that he had to play to make the semis of the US Open was Adrian Manarino. Am I right? I mean, who did he play in the fourth round? No, he played someone weaker, right? Hijikata. Yeah, Hijikata, of course. Yeah, so basically the only seed that he had to play on the way to the US Open semis was Adrian Manarino. So at the stage of the career that Francis is in, which is basically his prime, you would assume, you kind of have to treat it as it's just a wonderful chance. And for Shelton, this is just the beginning of the road, and there's really no harm in losing this whatsoever. Obviously, that's not how you feel once you actually have a shot, which is why he's also nervous. But yeah, I think the pressure is definitely on Foe to perform well. Right now, the pressure is probably on Shelton to hold on to this lead, but just as a whole before this encounter.
Yep. Max, I'm not sure what you're worried about. I didn't keep up with all this. Yeah, indeed, Jane saying work from whatever Shelton.
No, someone there was something about microwaving. Someone microwaved some food and then didn't take out the wrapper, and the guys in the chat are wondering if it's safe to eat it.
15 love on the Francis serve. It was a very comfortable hold there for Ben in the previous service game. Yeah, I think a lot of us feel like that, Ghosty. Neutral and non-neutral, and Americans and non-Americans. I think there's sort of, we see the excitement from both players that both players can potentially bring. Possibly I would lean slightly more towards Francis just because of the opportunities that may or may not come his way in the future, and pretty sure Ben with that serve will always be there or thereabouts, potentially at 3 of the 4 slams a year. Does well to get his racket on that one, but in the end, Tiafoe puts it away for 30-15. The sleeveless shirt from Tiafoe is more like a vest now in the way he's sort of got it all curled up. Ben does well again to get his racket on it, but has that landed in? No, it's gone long. Still brings up a cheeky smile, 40-15. Given that his father was a professional tennis player, I can't believe he'd never been to Europe before.
Why?
Because I'd have thought his father would have taken him there when he was on tour, or even just
No, but
taken him more recently.
was his father still on tour when Ben was born?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Like he was probably younger. Yeah, I doubt he was actually. Yeah, 97. He played some matches. So yeah, Brian Shelton was simply off the tour before
Even
Shelton
with that, though,
started
I
playing.
still would have thought that his father, given the depths of his pockets, would have been doing some traveling and
I
probably
mean,
connected.
his father. Well, I don't know the financial situation, but his father obviously worked as the college coach, so during the year it was impossible, just over the summer. Yeah, it was a bit surprising for sure. But I think for us Europeans, especially, it's tough to understand it, right? Because everyone has been to another country. Like basically anyone who's, I don't know, 15 years old has probably been to another country at least once or twice. But yeah, sometimes it can be hard for us to understand that.
Yeah, but not for me.
Uh,
I get it. There's different parts of the world, and if you're in a huge country and as diverse as the US, and you have certain up. But my key thing is, yeah, sure. If I meet someone who's struggling a bit in the US or even just whatever, but I just with that background, um, it does just surprise me a bit. Yeah, someone else though in the US, someone who can barely afford to pay for the bus fare. I'm not shocked that they've not been to Europe, but given the sort of global environment he must have grown up in. I mean, I know you said that his father was working in the
yeah, so
US.
like he didn't grow up in a global environment at all, I guess, because
No, but I don't mean global as in like his father would have. I still think his father would have been doing some traveling. I would have thought, but I would have thought.
maybe.
That's my point. I mean, even just fairly wealthy people tend to travel more than non-fairly wealthy people. Backhand to the forehand of Francis, and now Francis is going loopy again on that forehand, and it's gone wide, so it's 15 love on the Ben Shelton serve. And it's an unreturnable, and so maybe Tiafoe perhaps made that look a bit unreturnable, but it was a first serve they had to deal with, so 30 love. Oh, Ghosty, you've been to Asia, have you? So not a very nice looking backhand into the net there with Francis on top of the point. 40 love.
Yeah, subdued is, I guess, another good way to describe what Francis is doing right now.
Yeah, right, which is just unheard of. Even in defeats. Even in defeats, which ironically is more or less the name of this book, which is obviously available all good bookstores.
I'm a sucker for good self-promotion, apparently, because it made me laugh.
It's the second time I've done it tonight, hence I've got the book right by me. Okay, so Tiafoe is serving at 2-4. Can ill afford to go
This
down a double break here.
this could be
Ooh.
a yeah, sorry. This could be a weird question. It also could be tough to answer it. But like, are you like what would you say is sort of the level of prominence you have? Like, do United fans, would they know of you, for example, because of that book?
Mm,
How popular is it? Is basically what
No,
I'm saying.
in
How
tennis
many?
terms, I've got a higher profile now, despite not having
Okay,
written a book.
okay, okay.
I kind of know how you'd frame that question. Like, of the 70,000 people at Old Trafford, how many would have heard my name? Oh, I'll be
Yeah, and
arranging
also
this
I was thinking of like how many, among Manchester United books, like how many of them come out? Like, is it a
a
popular?
lot, and also a lot of them are living in the past. I didn't
Okay.
intentionally write the book by thinking in those terms, but after it was published, a few people said, "Yeah, there's quite a few, United books that are doing well or keen." Even YouTube channels, when you see sort of interviews with heroes from Manchester United's past, well, of course, they are becoming more and more distant in the past, if you like, because of the fact we've had so little success in the last 10 or 15 years. But yeah, no. In tennis, for example, I was in a cafe near the Paris Bercy venue, super near, like probably the nearest cafe to it. And a guy in there, this is a year ago, said, "Hey, John, talking tennis," and I actually recognized him. He's the guy who's Stephen Broughton has the Slice
Okay.
podcast. So he said that we'd never interacted at all until then. We've interacted since. I've had him on the show a couple of times. Yeah, and now I was in Madrid, for example, and I saw the press officer from Wimbledon, and we sort of said hello to each other in Madrid as we walked past each other and recognized each other. That kind of thing.
Okay.
There's just no way I'm anywhere. I'm not really mixing in those circles in football. And okay, I've got a book, but yeah, it's not. If I'd written 10, that would be different, And I know people that have written 10, 15, 20, and they are known. You see them with 20,000 followers on Twitter, and people know who they are.
And
You
by
could
the
also,
way, a few games ago, I said that this match is not done yet. Now I think we
well,
can sort of start saying that it's done. And Francis is
1540
just
I have.
walking past. He's just walking
Yeah,
past that fourth set.
he's sleepwalking through it. Yeah. Maybe I don't want to say ghosts of the past, but the year ago defeat must have hurt Francis. It was in terms of the scoreline and being yeah, but there's been a lot of things
Close,
from
but not close at the same time. Like, he won 2 tiebreak sets and
sure.
he lost 3 pretty comfortable ones. I think he doesn't carry all that much baggage, but
No, not
yeah.
a lot, but he has said a couple of things this year. Like just a few weeks ago, he said something. I just want to win one Grand Slam, and I think he actually referenced Wimbledon, weirdly enough, which just seemed to be a bit left field. But maybe that was just because that was the slam being spoken about at the time.
Probably, yeah.
You're right in terms of the gap in probably the quality, but you go into a fifth set, your serve is firing, you maybe get to a deciding set tiebreak, and you never know. And also with Francis, like the other players I framed in that question, it's not like Carlos Alcaraz when he lost the French Open quarterfinal to Zverev, in that you brush it off. A few weeks later, you're playing in a big tournament, and a couple months later, you're winning your first Grand Slam, and none of it is really a big surprise to us, and I'm sure to Carlos himself. These chances don't come along every day. But it's not baggage of the Ons Jabeur levels. I also get that too. But he has kind of just felt like a bit Ons Jabeur-esque in this final set.
So I would say maybe not actual like past baggage, past losses, but maybe just putting a bit too much pressure on himself.
Well, Max, I don't think you'll be getting that wish today. Stranger things have happened, but Ben Shelton goes long on the forehand, so love 15. He's a point closer to making it happen. As we go past 3 hours. Ben goes long on the first serve. Need a few of those for Francis to get into this service game in a big way. Goes long on the return. I'm going Jabeur with this question, but it's a really good one.
What's the question? I have to check.
Who has bigger baggage, Tsitsipas, Sakari, Jabeur, or Dimitrov? I mean, Jabeur has the bigger baggage. Sakari probably carries it most heavily.
Depending where.
Pardon?
Jabeur has the Grand Slam final baggage. Sakari has a semi-final baggage.
Also, Sakari's carrying it into first rounds now as well. That's why I say she's carrying it in a heavier manner.
Tsitsipas probably not that much, actually. Dimitrov, a lot of close matches over the years.
But it'll probably grow.
Guys.
It'll probably grow. Dimitrov is because it's kind of done now for him.
That's sad, but kind of true.
But maybe Dimitrov is more comfortable in his skin than the other three, so
that's possible. Yeah,
just the way he comes across, it's like it also there's not like 3 Grand Slam finals that he lost, and 1 or 2 of which he should have won.
No. A 5th set with Rafa, where he didn't really have that much of an opportunity, I suppose, and obviously he has an ATP Finals title, which is still pretty huge. Dimitrov is sort of both an overachiever and an underachiever, I think.
Yeah, we've got match point here for Ben Shelton.
40-30
on Ben Self, so he goes big. Of course he does, 135 miles an hour, but it doesn't land in. So it's a second serve here for Francis to look at. Francis just looks a bit jaded, but we'll see how that turns out. Good depth on the return. Francis comes into the net. There's a volley for Francis. Is Ben going to chase it down? He is, but surely he's going to win this point, Francis, and he does. Deuce saves match point. He's fighting. As we look at his mother in the crowd from time to time, who just seems very sympathisch. Forehand Francis to the backhand of Ben. And this time it's Francis's turn to mistime that forehand quite horribly and shank it into the New York sky. I gave you a fairly comprehensive answer there, Ghosty. Did you like that? Okay, I know what happens.
And why?
I just know. As a forehand winner. And
I just know.
That. Look at that phone call celebration, putting the phone down. That's funny. That is funny.
That's good. That's good, Gasty.
Yeah, I know. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Shelton, U.S. Open semifinalist. Who would have guessed
How
before
about
the event?
That?
Before today, people would have guessed, but before the U.S. Open, no way. And this is actually a dark horse that me and Jack talked about, right? Because we did this dark horse video, and we had 3 guys who reached the second week. So Stricker, Goyo, and Shelton. Did not expect that one of them. I even said, I think that if only one of these guys that we mentioned are going to make this second week, we're gonna be happy. We actually got 3, and we got a semi-finalist now, which is just sick. And Francis Tiafoe, just very subdued. No usual energy. I don't know if it's also Shelton's personality and the pressure, perhaps a combination of these two. But yeah, disappointing for Francis for sure to play like that. And still, this very easily could have been a 2-1 lead for Tiafoe, right? Shelton misses that massive forehand return, and then it's Francis who leads 2-1 and maybe wins the match.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe he wins it in 4 because maybe there was a bit of a hangover going into the fourth set as well. Can Shelton bully Djokovic? Well, we sort of touched on it. I mean, he can.
hopefully. Like I'm not saying I'm hoping for him to win, but I mean, I don't really care either way. But I think that if he just plays freely, if he comes out as if he has nothing to lose, why not?
I
It's
mean, he
just a
might
matter
come
of
out like that. He might come out as
he
relaxed in a
might.
way, or maybe even more
Sh-
relaxed than he did tonight. Shelton.
Shelton could, yeah. But it would also be pretty natural for him to start feeling it himself too. It's a Grand Slam semi after all. It doesn't matter that you're 20 years old. I mean, about to turn 21. It doesn't really matter. It's still a Grand Slam semi, and actually the title could be reasonably close. Of course, it's not really close because he would probably have to go through Djokovic and Alcaraz. Let's say Djokovic and Alcaraz or Medvedev. But that's how if that's how he starts thinking about it, he might not do that well.
Yeah, I don't think he will though. Not yet. I actually think those thoughts might race through his head as he walks out into Ash for the final. Also, youth and maybe not quite aware of the grandioseness of the occasion. I think it's a little bit different to the pressure that probably Carlos was feeling ahead of his semi-final with Novak. I don't know. There may be all sorts of things as well that may go on in the next 48 hours that may make Ben think about who he's playing. But I'm not. I'm just saying that the question is, it's easier to answer, perhaps, whether he'll feel free going into that semi-final than it is to predict whether he wins or loses.
And by the way, right now, after the US Open, he'll have the same amount of points as Grigor Dimitrov.
in the overall rankings.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully Ben's dad can help to stay. Yeah, I was also looking at his father as I was making those utterances and thinking that could help. But yeah, I mean, you're right. He does have issues getting close to the finish line. But if he gets close to the finish line against Novak and does have an issue, at least he's made it a match, because that's what we kind of want. We just don't want a Taylor Fritz scenario or an Andre Rublev and I don't think we will get that. I'm not saying that Novak won't win it in straight sets, but we're not going to get that style of just discomfort watching the tennis match. I don't think.
Yeah, that's what he did at 6-7 in the tiebreak. 5-set tiebreak. 6-7 on return. He fires this massive forehand return. And yeah, that was also after 2 consecutive double faults.
Indeed. All right, guys. Thank you for stopping by. As always, every single comment, like, subscription is very much appreciated. Well, every single comment. I'm just trying to think. There was one. Oh yeah, can you guys just shut up? No, even that was funny from Silk.
That was funny.
Yes,
especially as
every single comment.
The big Silk asked that, so it was
big
funny.
Silk, big, saying in no uncertain terms that she wanted us to be quiet. And so we're going to do just that right now. So there we go. Eventually, we're going to do it for you. And thanks for stopping by. And you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.